Valley.
Showtime.
Kia ora whanau, that guy's Energy here, and I am here at the Sky Tower in Tāmaki Makaurau to check out the new Sky Slide, which is just opened. Let's go check it out. This is their brand new virtual reality experience based up on their main observation deck. It's a crazy ride, offering 360-degree views of Auckland at up to 100 kilometers per hour. The motion platform imitates the 3D rendered open-air slides, twists and turns above the skies of Tāmaki Makaurau. Counting down, punch it, let me at him. Hey! Free air, whoa! Whoever's done the render for this has done like an incredible job. Whoa! It's also really comfortable, like the motion platform's super nice. It's actually really selling all of these like different twists and turns. Another free fall, whoa! Whoa! We're heading home, boys, we're heading home. Whew. So it's $40 for the experience, which includes viewing platform access, or it's just $15 on top of your tower ticket, and it's for ages 8 and up.
Now it's time for New Belt Nitro Signal, and he fell for it! He's looking to give coverage for his teammate, right? Can he lock it down? Yes, he can, but the swing's in. Has to find it. No time! Pun has to swing in. Geordie's pulled up. He's lost the round.
Camera in position.
Get behind me!
Tango located.
Hostiles in sight!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Roccat LPL Pro Rainbow Six Siege Season 2 tournament. My name is Proto. Joining me tonight, as always, is none other than the man himself, Spud. Spud, how are we doing?
I'm doing really well. Really excited to get into this. It's been a long time, but we finally made it to playoffs.
We are here for the semi-finals, but how we got here, obviously, just a refresher for anyone tuning in. 7 teams came in to the best of 1 round robin season for 7 weeks. We are now in our best of 3 semi-finals, and from here, we find out who goes on to the best of 5 finals, where the teams will be playing for their share of our $3,000 AUD prize pool. First, walking away with 1,200, Spud placing is going to be everything here.
Yeah, that's right. Although these 4 teams do guarantee themselves some prize money, of course, there is a big difference between that money. Of course, $450 and $1,200, it's almost triple the difference. So if I were anybody, I would be going for $1,200. That's what my goal would be.
Yeah, gunning for first, obviously, is what most of the teams in this top bracket are going to be doing. But I mean, Spud, last week, we saw some absolutely insane gameplay. And overall, I mean, we saw the teams make it to the top 4. Overall, a great play day to cement those top 4. But I mean, anything that sort of stood out for you last week that should be looking for this week, Spud?
Look, honestly, the Team 7 versus Kraken game was really, really amazing. Like, you have to have watched it to really understand what I'm talking about. But for those who missed it and want to know, Team 7 were 2-6 down. They managed to win 5 rounds in a row, take it to 7-6, and then, of course, just at the last moment, it was all the way to 8-7 before Team 7 actually ended up winning. Not quite sure on Get a Grip was also a really exciting matchup. Of course, there you just saw Owen almost make a 1v3 clutch. Unfortunately, he just missed out. Ducko almost as well got himself one, but slowed down just right there at the end. Some nice shots overall, but ultimately not quite sure were the ones who were able to get that win.
Yeah, look, it was a great play day. Results coming out, Team 7, 8-7 over Kraken, NQS, 7-2 against Get a Grip, unfortunately ending their top sort of side of the running. But overall, UG take down F2. Could have probably put some good money on that one, but Spud, overall, some pretty insane clutches and some pretty insane matches. UG having a great day as per usual. They've been really consistent, actually, in the recent moments of LPL Pro, and I know we talked about their consistency being an issue, but overall, they have had a really solid comeback. Now, we look to the bracket, obviously, for our top 4 teams. Not quite sure Kraken, Underground, and Team 7 all make it through into the playoffs. Is there any name here, Spud, that you have your eye on specifically?
Look, I'm going to be looking at Not Quite Sure here as kind of the favorites for the tournament. They have been very, very consistent, and that is something that we've brought up a number of times with some of these teams is consistency. You have to be able to put in the same amount of effort every single time and get the same results. And for some of these teams, they have fallen short here or there, whereas Not Quite Sure, they've had a pretty solid run, that's why I'm looking at them to take that top spot.
Well, for tonight, our schedule, we have 2 big games lined up for you to cement who will be going for that first place spot, kicking the night off. Not Quite Sure taking on Kraken, and then to round the evening out, Underground taking on Team 7. Now, keep in mind, these are going to be that best of 3 format that we spoke of just before, so there is going to be a whole lot more siege for this evening than I think anyone is, ready for. I mean, we could have 2 3-mappers here, very potentially, just looking at the names on both sides of these cards. Spud, the matchup I'm looking at is definitely going to be that first one. Not Quite Sure taking on Kraken. You know, we touched on them. They are that top running team at the moment, and they're looking to hopefully make it all the way through to the end. What about you? You mirror that statement?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that matchup will go to 3 maps, but that's not to say Underground versus Team 7 isn't going to be any good, because we have seen Underground perform really well against really high quality top tier teams. And if Underground have done their performance, they could upset Team 7 here, knock out the 2nd place runners up from last season, and UG would book their spot into the grand finals.
And as always, here on the LPL Pro broadcast, we have the giveaway for this week. If you want to win an awesome R6 prize pack, make sure you tweet us at LPL_R6S on Twitter using the hashtag LPL Pro, and you tell us what teams are going to be making it to the finals. Who do you think is going to be playing in that best of 5 and why? Make sure you include a pretty funny reason. You know, the funnier the better. You get a little bit more creative. Maybe you go up on the leaderboard. But Spud, I mean, who do you think is going to make the finals?
Look, I don't want to be accused of any caster bias here, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. But at this point, it really is anyone's game. I think all of these teams have the potential to get there.
Look, sorry for chucking you under the bus there, but Spud, for our first match, we do have the aforementioned frontrunners of the league so far. Not quite sure. An absolutely insane roster coming into it. They have got some crazy names: President Fakers, Karma Elements, and Dirty. I mean, this roster has seen some changes in iterations here and there, but overall, consistently, week in, week out, this team comes and they perform on game day.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at a typical not quite sure performance, just look at the performance against F2 on Villa. That was their absolute most dominant performance so far. It was four flawless rounds and then an ace from Karma. It was incredible, and they put on quite an amazing performance against Get a Grip last week as well, also on Villa. So, if they end up going to Villa, that could be quite dangerous.
Yeah, it definitely could be dangerous, but going up against them, a team that is quite comfortable in many realms. Kraken had their run in other Tier 2, Tier 1 tournaments and have had to make some changes. They've got, obviously, Helix in tonight. Chef Jeff, though, coming into this roster has been definitely someone to keep your eye on. I mean, overall, crazy, crazy team.
Yeah, look, these players are well-known. It's a well-known team, and they've put out the results to show that. Of course, they can tango with the top-tier teams here, and I certainly expect them not to be slouching here tonight. They have struggled a little bit historically. They've sometimes kind of dropped the ball. Last week, it was an unfortunate overtime loss after leading 6-2. And of course, they have lost to Underground on their very own Oregon map. So I guess we'll have to see if those same mistakes come back to haunt them.
Yeah, well, and the head-to-head tonight brought to us by BioCode Lab. 2 players from both of these rosters that we should keep our eye on tonight. You guys as well. Karma, obviously, I mean, name says enough. In, week out, this guy has performed. And on the other side, Kraken, obviously, Chef Jeff, one of the standout players on this roster. The Bishop of Boomstick, one of the members of the Church of the M590. This man gets the job done. So two players from 2 very good teams. Make sure you watch out. I mean, Spud, this is going to be a hectic game. I already feel it. This best of 3 is definitely going to be one that can go the distance.
Yeah, both these teams have been so finely tuned, and they are so adept at what they do. It's definitely going to be a clash of the Titans here. And looking at these 2 players as well, Karma and Chef Jeff, they're the Titans leading the charge. It's going to be great.
Yeah, indeed it is. Spud, overall, I mean, not quite sure. We've said it multiple times, these guys have been the front runners. They have done so well week in, week out. I mean, they had a couple of close games here or there, but largely overall, it has been a pretty one-sided affair in most of their matchups. I mean, these guys are a team that they show up on game day. I mean, you got people like Fakers on the roster who can pretty much clutch most situations. When on that shotgun as well, very similar. He can just get the job done. Overall, I mean, Karma, you just look at Karma. It is just insane when Karma gets in. I mean, aces, 4 flawless rounds. He led the kill record for a while. So, look, overall, an insane match. And overall, I'm hoping that we are going to get the maps to reflect that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the results again, and that's 2 times I've recorded Karma with an ace. I'm not surprised if there's more that I've just missed here in my notes, but this is a player who puts up so many kills. It is just going to be crazy to see what he does tonight.
Yeah, and the map's obviously one that Karma has performed on before. We will get to see a repeat of here. But first, to kick things off, we will be heading to Dub House for Kraken, Clubhouse, as you will, Villa, Karma's stomping ground. And then to round it out, if we go all 3, Border is an interesting one for a decider, but I'm sort of enjoying it. I'm liking the map pool that we've got going on here. We've got 2 of the fan favourites, and then we're rounding it out with something new in the map pool spot. Do you think this is largely indicative of maybe what we see score-wise, or do you think that this is going to be that 3-map sort of even stomp ground?
Look, I think it's going to be a 3-mapper. Villa, for sure, I would lean towards, not quite sure, especially this is their map pick. They've done so well on it against teams of such high caliber. Clubhouse, it's a bit harder to call here because Kraken, they've only played 2 maps the entire season. They've played Oregon like 6 weeks in a row, and then they've played a single game of Chalet, which, of course, as we mentioned, was an overtime loss. So how Clubhouse will play out, it's hard to entirely say. Things might have changed since we last saw them on Clubhouse, but it still plays very much like Oregon, which is to their benefit. And then, of course, Border is the wild card. Neither of these teams have played Border this season, and we don't see it very often, which means anything could go here.
Well, I mean, you look at the vetoes here, not quite sure. Their last ban, literally their last ban, was Oregon. And then it came down to Kraken decide what they want. And out of, the 5 maps after that, 6 maps after that, it was sort of, well, we'll go for the next best thing. As you said, Club and Oregon, very, very similar in the play style. It is largely just that sort of checklist mentality on the attack and, stop that checklist on the defense. You got to actively look to slow that down as much as you can. And for Kraken, it is just going to be their bread and butter. On these maps, they are very, very deadly. I mean, you look at Oregon, as we said, they were pretty much undefeated on this map throughout this series, bar, I believe, 1 game against UG that they lost. And then to come into, I mean, even in previous tournaments, Chalet was one of those maps that they were really good at. On Clubhouse, they've played before, they've been really good. So no surprise that they picked it out. And then Villa to follow it up, obviously, from not quite sure. Karma's very comfortable on the map. You put him on the Zofia, put him on the Alibi. He's just pretty much going to do whatever he wants. And that is usually taking about 3 or 4 people with him before he goes most rounds, Spud. So I'm expecting some high kill games in here as well from some of our star players.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried for Kraken here, letting the Villa go through. I mean, given how not quite sure I performed on it, it would seem to me to be your very, very first ban. I mean, but there's also other options here. They do take out the theme park. They do take out the cafe, which, could also be very reward the aggression coming out from not quite sure. Theme park, maybe not so much. Again, it is one of those very defender-sided, hard to attack maps. So maybe both teams just don't want to deal with that entirely. But yeah, removing Chalet as well for not quite sure, I think was a really good move. That is another one of Kraken's favorites. So taking out their 2 favorites here, definitely, I think, if we come down to it, I would say that not quite sure have won the ban phase if there is so much as a thing as winning the map ban phase.
Yeah, it's going to come down to a lot of different factors. Obviously, has Karma had his biocode supplements before he jumps in? Speaking of jumping in, we're going to get right into map number 1 of the first best of 3 of the night here, Spud. We are getting ready, but you know who else should be getting ready? The people at home, Roccat. We want to shout out them real quick. Feel the impact with the Vulcan 122 keyboard. It's the best keyboard Roccat has ever built, and I can vouch. It's available now. Make sure you go check it out in stores near you, online and in person. Spud, Clubhouse is where we head to. Kraken, and not quite sure of the teams we're paying attention to. We start things off, as always, with the bans. Now, you said that the map ban phase was going to be something that was largely telling of what we saw in this matchup. Do you think the operators are going to reflect that?
Well, I think Nock and Azami will be must bans here for both of these teams. They are just so powerful in high level play. And removing an already, complicated defense and then leaving Azami on the board would just make things even more difficult. Capital, I do think I recall seeing a Capital ban on Clubhouse. Yes, Underground and Team 7. Team 7 did opt to go for that Capital ban, and it ended up backfiring on them, but he does bring a lot of utility, and removing some of that it makes it easier to go for that bandit trick. But Maverick off the board, that does leave the Thatcher available and the Jackal, which are the usual fan faves in terms of fans.
Yeah, look, Capital to go is an interesting one, but it's definitely one that I do rate merit-wise. Azami to be followed from not quite sure is another sort of key operator you need to take out. Now, the question will be, will it be the Wamai that follows, or will it be the Valkyrie? I mean, Wamai in places like Rafters, places like downstairs in blue, very, very scary, but Valkyrie as well. Obviously, we know, the information provided is too much, but it is going to be the Wamai. So it was one of the two. It was going to be either or, but there you go. Valkyrie remains. Jaeger also stands, but some other interesting operators as well. Thatcher obviously makes it through, Flores as well. Spud, there's plenty to work with here. And for not quite sure, they've got the short end of the stick, unfortunately. They're starting on the attack. Kraken get the easier side. They've got the defense a little bit more comfortable. And a mirror here from NZ Frankie is an interesting choice right off the bat.
Yeah, I really like this for my ban. It does remove some of the utility denial that is so prevalent on positions like Rafters, positions like Blue. So the defenders, are going to have to be really, really careful about where they put the remaining denial. And that, of course, limits your options. Jaeger devices are a bit more clustered, and so gives you a bit more options for attacking as well. Maybe you can throw a nice EMP to get rid of it. So I do like that ban. I do want to see how it plays out, especially for Kraken leading this defense here, and of course it is their ban. But so far, apart from the bans, no surprises on this. Oh, no, sorry. Second floor gym bedroom as a primary site. I like that as well.
I do have to mention, I was, before the broadcast, having a very brief word with Chef Jeff. Now, this is not caster favourites, guys. However, I was told Chef Jeff joined the VC today and said, guys, I want to win. As soon as he said that, his Discord crashed. So if there is anything to come from that, if history is to do the thing that it does usually when, what is it, Murphy's listening, you know? That might be largely telling of what we may expect here tonight. So, Chef, let's hope that that's not the case. However, Kraken starting things off on this defense are definitely going to have an easier time than they would have starting things off on the attack. They're going to be a lot more comfortable. And hopefully for Chef, that means things go a little bit easy breezier.
Yeah, once again, a kind of standard extension out into cache. They have started working, I think, this con single wall, and if they open that up, they could potentially cut off that cache rotation, or at least force them to take the long way around. That is, of course, where the first push will be coming from. They've got that main breach open. Trying to get some of that information before they commit to clearing out that garage. Unfortunately, won't be enough. I'm not sure if that player was tagged down, but Pluto, at least, still has bit of health to work with.
Yeah, Karma's been taken down, so has Dirty now. The trade is there onto Pluto. Not too sure where the kill feed is here, but we're making do. 2 players down for not quite sure. Kraken have also lost 1 in the fray, but in doing so, I mean, Spud, you've taken a Zofia, you've taken a Yana off the board in trade from you. All you've really lost is a C4, as opposed to everything that Yana brings. The clones, the grenades, you've got the Zofia utility as well. I mean, that is a huge loss there for not quite sure, especially with it being Karma. I mean, one of the biggest fraggers on that roster. So much damage dealt, but they have gained some good control over that. They've taken over the cache, they've got top red now, and they're looking to make their way into con. However, with 1 player still here, maybe they're not as deep as they thought, but they will get rid of Tiltate.
Yeah, that's a good cross there that was really, really needed, because if he had gone away, then you'd be in dire straits here. Because considering the time here, they've got about a minute left. You need to make sure you don't have as many players to deal with. Sticking 1 more up on the board is going to mean you won't be able to win off trades. Speaking of trades, Helix does go down with no reply back straight away, but Chef Jeff has made his way all the way back up red stair. He does take down Bakers with a beautiful shot now. And now it's back to a 2v2, and with that control they previously had ceded back to the defense, they're in for a pinch here. Elements now going for the plant.
Prez is on the cover. Chef does have to return back to the site. NZ Frankie also looking to make an attempt. The Nitro comes out, doesn't connect. That reinforced wall making things a little bit harder for the retake here, but Chef Jeff is taken down. A lovely shot from Frankie. He fells what's left of that player inside of Jim, but unfortunately for him, Prez was there and waiting. Swings on out with the ace, collects the headshot, finishes it off. Not quite sure. Walk away with round number 1 off the back of some great interplay there between teammates. Awesome trading back and forth, and overall it's what you love to see at the start of your best of 3 semi-finals. Not quite sure leading the charge.
Yeah, really well executed attack there. Kraken had a really good flank that had the potential to be huge. Fortunately for Not Quite Sure, they had the positioning able to make sure he couldn't get back to site. They held on to just what they needed, which was the gym area. Once they got that plant down, they were able to cut off Chef as he made his way back. Of course, there were some nice shots as well from Kraken. NZ Frankie almost putting an end to Not Quite Sure's attack there, but ultimately, after a shaky start, Not Quite Sure able to take the first round.
Overall, a very solid round. I mean, there was some good back and forth, and given that they lost Karma and Dirty in that first sort of 30 seconds to a minute, Spud, that could have definitely been a lot worse for them. You do have to give it to Prez, you do have to give it to Elements. I mean, 3 for him in that round on the Thatcher. We've seen him do it back when he was on Kraken. Funnily enough, he was one of those players that used to play a lot of the Ash, a lot of the Yana himself, and used to find these big kill games. I mean, he keeps finding 3, 4 consistently, a little bit like Karma did on that Villa game a couple weeks back. Elements could be up there as well, pushing for that kill record.
Yeah, it seems this is just a Kraken league. It's all Kraken here, but
yeah,
unfortunately, one Kraken has to go home, whether it's Not Quite Sure or the actual Kraken, who drops to 4th place. Well, we're only a single round in. So far, though, good performance from both teams. Not Quite Sure just getting the better of them at the start. Well, we move on to the basement now, the secondary site for this team. Haven't seen CCTV, but hey, basement's still a very, very strong site. Going to force attackers to move from this top-down roam clear in order to make sure no one stabs them in the back like Chef did last time.
Yeah, Chef had a really solid position in the last round. I mean, the fact that he was able to come from behind and at least take one with him before being traded out, you always love to see it. I mean, he started the round in kitchen with the hatch open, Spud. Keep that in mind. So overall, it was an interesting strategy from Kraken. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out, but for Not Quite Sure, they are just repeating the process. As we said, that checklist, opening up the hatches, taking that control, forcing the roamers away, and they're making it work. But from above, I think, yeah, there's still a player upstairs here causing some issues, but he is going to be traded out. There goes Chef. Karma finds the opener.
Well, there you go. The second, that's right. Tiltech as well will fall. So that's this time 2 early picks coming out for Not Quite Sure's favor this time. And we mentioned that top floor roam clear is very, very important. And of course, that hatch could have been locked shut by those top 4 players. But by removing them, they also make that hatch work for them. Now things are different. Not only do they have the player advantage, they have the position advantage. They're able to keep the defenders on site here and apply so much pressure, not just with the vertical, but with Fakers providing them the information they need for that play.
Well, I just lost 2 very quickly. Prez and Karma both fall in the action. Monty has made it into the site here, and having Fakers just in this position is going to be huge. There you go, to lock down these kills. Another one to go. NZ Frankie falls to Elements on the main stairs. Dirty now getting the diffuser down. It's all left to Helix. He's in a 1v3 against a Monty. He has to deal with the Thatcher as well, and he will start with doing just that. Takes down Elements, and now looks to recuperate some more kills in this 1 versus 2. But Sophia, he's already left. Dirty is out, and it's a 1v1 on site. He's going to play the hatch, and this is going to be a Not Quite Sure round.
Yeah, not really much you can do there. All that information coming out from from Fakers will mean there's really not much that could stop Dirty and Fakers here. Helix, of course, not quite sure where that last player is, will get taken down from the hatch as you predicted, but yes, indeed, very well played by Helix.
Elements is doing our job for us. I mean, we at this point, Spud, we could just let all chat be the decider of what needs to be said. Elements is breaking it down really well. I got to give him that. But overall, Spud, the first few rounds have been really, really solid from Not Quite Sure. I mean, the Monty was maybe not something I necessarily expected. I mean, we see it a lot in like the south region of APAC. A lot of the Thai teams and stuff bring out the Monty. But I mean, for round 2, Fakers to jump straight on the Monty for that bottom floor attack, I mean, it was largely different to what they did in the first round, but it definitely seemed to work really, really well for them. Even in that 3v3, there was plenty of utility to deny him, but it just wasn't used.
Yeah, the information there was huge. They were able to tell where those players were exactly, and then as you saw it, when Dirty went for that drop, he knew exactly where to be shooting it. So it definitely worked very, very well. I think maybe Kraken just weren't expecting that aggression, even though there wasn't anyone necessarily behind it straight away. They knew that hatch was open, they knew there was that vertical presence, and there wasn't anything they could do about it. Remember, those 2 early roamers had already been taken out, so they knew they were being hunted. They knew their positions were given away, and that forced them to always be moving around. And then of course that opens up avenues of exposure where the attackers are able to shut them down, and that's ultimately what happened.
And I will mirror Elements' comment. That was very well played by Helix in that 1v3. He did his best maneuverability-wise. He got the kill, managed to aggress onto the Monty. Fortunately for him, Dirty had already vacated the area. He'd gone straight up onto the hatch, but that's exactly what was going to happen. We chalked it up to a Not Quite Sure round. In that position, you're usually not going to win it unless something pretty crazy happens. But I mean, one thing I do think we want to highlight, Spud, no smoke on the bottom floor, or at least if there was the smoke, it was gone. It wasn't available to them. The Nitro in the hands of Cade was situated down the other end of the bomb site when the Monty was pushing in from dirt. I mean, a couple of different things here and there maybe would have won them that round. The Goyo canisters, I'm not too sure where they were situated, but it definitely didn't look like there was one around dirt at all, or if there was, it had already been used. So maybe some utility changes there from Kraken could have changed the outcome of that round, but I'm not quite sure. They definitely learned their lesson on the roam clear this time. They didn't lose too early. In fact, they found too early. Karma on the Ash, taking down those opening 2 players, Chef Jeff and the Malusi as well. Overall, a great start for them, but this is why I'm not quite sure I've been leading all season. season. You know, they make one mistake, they still win a round, or even if they lose it, but then they come back the next round just 10 times stronger and 10 times more ready to put down the hurt.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Kraken play this aggressive style where they get up in your face very, very early on. They contest every single bit of the map, even as you walk into the garage, as we saw on that gym bedroom attack. But certainly not quite sure have adapted very, very well. And adaptation is the name of the game here. We've seen UG being able to do it. They kind of studied how Kraken played and they counter-stratted and they're able to get that win. So if not quite sure, able to do this but on the fly, then you know, Kraken, if they don't adapt, if they don't kind of find ways to reel in some of that aggression, they'll be playing right into Not Quite Sure's hand. And I mean, you can argue that's what's been happening here. Not Quite Sure have managed 2 plants and kills. 2 plants. 2 out of 2 so far, right? That's pretty impressive for a clubhouse attack.
That's 100%, right? 2 rounds in, you got to give them that. I mean, that is probably going to change, Spud. But if it doesn't, and we see 6 rounds of plans here from Not Quite Sure, I mean, look, at that point, you sort of have to give them a gold star and maybe just call them the winners right out, because that's a pretty good plant percentage. But overall, Kraken, I mean, yeah, you sort of highlighted very quickly that they're a very aggressive team. We've seen it pretty much most weeks. Week in, week out, they come in, they play that hyper aggro siege that we know and love from them. And overall, it continues to be that hyper aggression that we always see from Kraken. But tonight, it's just not paying off for them. And Not Quite Sure definitely look like they've been doing their homework.
Yeah, at this point in the game, you need to be doing that homework, as we mentioned. $1,200 for first place, $900 for second, $450 for the third and fourth place. So you want to get to the grand final before you start calling it quits. Certainly, neither of these teams will call it quits yet. It's only 2 rounds. Kraken still have a lot to do, and I certainly think this isn't the end of them. There's still more to be seen, and the other thing we do see is sometimes they take a little bit of time to warm up at the start. So, you know, this is all warm up.
Yeah, it's all prep work, right? Now, Prez has taken a lot of damage off the bat, I believe, in a gunfight with Chef. They will open up this construction wall, providing them an angle onto this mirror position, but the Ace charge is there. It will be used to clear that out. Helix will be forced away, and unfortunately, no one from Cash is going to be able to remove that Ace charge in the forms of either, well, shooting or impact grenades. So that mirror will remain, but we do see Karma fall off screen, but Pluto and Chef Jeff have also gone down in the process. So 2-for-1 trade, Karma on the Ash. Again, a Mutant, a Warden. That's definitely a Not Quite Sure favored trade.
Yeah, and taking off big players like Pluto and Chef Jeff, it's definitely worth it. Then you also have to consider the utility and positionings they've taken. They managed to, I don't know where that Pluto and Chef Jeff died, but removing the Logi mirror window is big. It stops them from holding that cross and allows you to stop this player rotating back the short way. And certainly, if they hold onto it correctly, it could stop Helix from moving up to support. However, having said that, Tiltek is doing a pretty good job just stalling time here. He's got 3 players he's fighting up against, but he does lose there. Runs into the wall too. That was kind of amusing. But it will be Not Quite Sure to win that gunfight.
Yeah, Tiltek hitting his head off the wall is a largely unfortunate moment there for him, but I think he ran out of ammo. Either way, something went wrong and he lost that gunfight. He did have 3 members of Not Quite Sure bearing down on his position. Obviously, the cross held from the main window as well from Elements here on Thatcher. We can see him through the wall. NZ Frankie does have some idea that there is someone close by as well. Prez does get down in the process as well by Helix, but coming into the last 45, there's still 3 members of Not Quite Sure alive here. Make it 4 as Prez will be returned back to the fray and Helix will finally go down, leaving it all up to NZ Frankie, who is now being spotted as well by Elements. He's going to opt for the drop, tagged on his way. Going to play for the Nitro here, but I don't think this is looking good for Kraken unless NZ can go huge here.
Yeah, even with the C4, he's only able to deny 1. That gives him 3 other players he needs to find the good old-fashioned way. Of course, with that C4 missing now, he's got to go for that long rotate. The drones will certainly be there, and the Claymores as well will at least slow him down enough. Finds 1, but the diffuser has been planted.
Takes down Dirty, a nice shot there. Will clear the Claymores and make his way into CC. However, As you said, he's got to find 3 more. He does find elements. This is doable. 30 seconds is plenty of time. Just has to take the 2 1v1s here and come out victorious. Now, the Vector at close range can absolutely shred. And in the hands of someone like NZ Frankie, I don't doubt that, but he has to get a move on. 20 seconds are all that remain. He knows that there's someone inside a con here. Chooses to face check into the site. Has to get past Fakers, and unfortunately, he's not going to do just that. Fakers locks it down. Not quite sure. They find another round, and Kraken are now left trailing 3-0, Spud. This is not the start that I was expecting.
Yeah, mind you, that is yet another plant going down in favor of not quite
100%,
sure.
baby.
100%. They're 100%. Kraken need to at least break that streak, right? You cannot let them have a flawless attacking half on Clubhouse of all places. But it does look like that perhaps the shallow map pool that Kraken has shown off this season is coming back to bite them. Oregon and Chalet off the board, and it seems they are struggling. Mind you, I feel like they have all the tools, they have all the players they need, but ultimately, I think not quite sure are just reading into them very, very well and cutting them off where they need to be.
It's difficult to break something like this down, right? Like, not quite sure. They're the top, they were the top team for the season. They are a very good roster. Kraken, they are also an insanely amazing roster. I mean, playing at tier 1 level competitive Siege. But as you have correctly said, they have a very shallow map pool, or at least have shown a very shallow map pool. And even when we look to the vetoes for this matchup, it mirrors that. I mean, Villa, Clubhouse, and Border, those are quite, current in meta most played maps, and Kraken don't really flex anything else too different. So not quite sure. Definitely in their comfort zone as well here. And for Kraken, it's just hurting them.
Yeah, Kraken need to secure this win on their map, because going into Villa, already a map down, that's almost certain death, because not quite sure have such a good percentage on Villa. So you need to give yourself that buffer so you can take yourself to the 3rd map at least. Unless, of course, they have some secret source, some secret Villa strats, and I will eat my words and Kraken 7-0 on Villa. But unlikely, unlikely given how well Not Quite Sure I've played in the past, and also now, so far, 3-0 up, 3 plants down. It's pretty good.
Yeah. As as we said, 100% plant rate. They've got 100% win rate as well so far on this Clubhouse match. We've got Karma taking good ground here on the Ash. He's already inside of the bathroom. Tiltek holding on this jacuzzi wall. Does maybe spot the head of that repelled player there. However, not too sure. There you go. Will see it, but unfortunately won't connect. Prez will be the one to take him down. The AK-12 superior at range, especially with that 1.5. Tiltek falls, and not quite sure once more find themselves that opening pick to give them a really solid lead.
Yeah, Tiltek didn't have any support there, and that kind of cost them. There was no opportunity for a refrag, even though President, of course, was in a really good position to begin with anyway. Very difficult to get a refrag, and it's compounded by the fact there's just no one there, which means, of course, Kraken give up the top floor for not much gained. I mean, sure, half the round is gone. They've taken out Karma, but, is that going to be enough to slow down? Not quite sure, given they have been very, very proficient at their attacks.
Yeah, look, I'm not too sure, but in the process of us saying all of this, we have lost NZ Frankie and Karma. I'm not too sure where Karma went down, but Elements is even at the point where he's hitting question marks in the chat. Now, I do mirror the question marks. However, NZ Frankie wasn't really out of position there. He was doing his best to Cade trick, that wall, as the bottom of Church is also now being opened up by Not Quite Sure. Dirty's just going to flood on into blue here, looking to contest directly towards the side. Helix will take down one, traded by Dirty. Looks for the second, the flick to the right, not quite connecting. Chef Jeff good for at least one here. In the 1 versus 2, he has one player in blue to deal with. Will make his way back round a triple box, pops the Goyo, looking for some cover as the bomb now goes down. Prez on the plant. Chef could deny here, but unfortunately doesn't check his left. And from inside of blue, Elements, I believe, on the Thatcher, locks it down. Again, not quite sure. 4-0, not for the plants though. The bomb was going down, but it's no longer 100%.
Well, look, I'm going to give it to them since they were.
Do we want to count it? Yeah.
It's in the process of planting,
down.
right?
It was going down, right? Surely.
Yeah. Chef Jeff could certainly just have waited, and then it would have been 100% plant anyway. So, but the point is, I think it was really well played the way they just flooded onto site. They read the holes perfectly. They saw that blue was open, and Dirty just went for it. even though, so he got 1 kill and then was traded back out, but the point is he was able to distract so much attention that ultimately Not Quite Sure were able to get onto that church site and go for the plant. And then after that, it was just a matter of, again, they had the perfect positioning. They just waited for that player to push to try to deny that plant, and then just cut him off once again. So yeah, I just really, really like the way they kind of all coordinating that collapse. They read perfectly where they need to be, and then it snap just like that. They collapse on, and Kraken just can't do anything about it.
I will say that just in this matchup alone, Not Quite Sure are looking like a team that could compete at some of the highest levels. I mean, the coordination alone from this roster, I mean, so far, not even throughout just the whole tournament, but right now, just in this matchup, I mean, these 4 rounds that we have seen, it does not look like they're versing a team like Kraken. This just looks like an average day of Siege. You know what I mean? They've jumped on, they're in a scrim, they're just running around. I mean, they are doing it perfectly. And it's amazing to watch. Their level of coordination, the way that they're getting things done in this match so far is peak Siege.
Yeah, it's just really, really efficient. And when they do lose those players, they're not really too phased by it as well. We saw it in the very first round, of course. They lost 2 players early on, and they still won that. So it's this teamwork and coordination paired with this incredible gun skill where even when they are down, they still find that information and the picks they need to make things work. Of course, we do see a lot of players stacked up in this middle floor here, and they're going to try to break that winning streak that Not Quite Sure had picked up. That's certainly a good start. Tiltek takes out Karma, another one of those big players. And this middle floor hold seems to be a little unconventional, but does seem to have stalled out. Not Quite Sure a little bit, at least.
Kraken seem to have flipped the switch a little bit here. They've switched off from hyper aggro to a lot more passive. I mean, there in those opening sort of seconds, we saw them pull away from their own very quickly. Chef Jeff will be taken down there off screen. Not too sure how or who, but he's gone. But from what I do believe and what we did see just before we switched off Tiltek is he is still at large and possibly over towards Strip, maybe somewhere else in the middle side of that map, because he didn't get droned out and he didn't get taken out. He is still at large. So for Kraken, this could be a lifeline here, but it looks like he has made his way back to the site. So I take it back. He's on site. It's a 4-man bunker with a minute left to work with. Not Quite Sure have plenty of time. They did it without Karma in the first round. I'm sure if they really wanted to, they could do it again.
Yeah, I mean, all the utility pieces are still in play here. So, you know, it's still very, very much doable. The time wasted, 2 minutes. Look, for a team like Not Quite Sure, I'd still say it's possible. But, you know, it is starting to cut it a little bit close. If Kraken can kind of force that execute to be even slower, maybe last 15 seconds, that's where things could change. It is 4-4 in terms of player count. So if Not Quite Sure, walk into those crossfires from Kraken, could be quite deadly.
I mean, we've got 3 Nitros and the Goyos as well, keep in mind. So I had plenty of denial. Pluto with the Valkyrie camera in pocket too. Could chuck that out for a little bit of info. Prez drops down into Moto. Doesn't know the player's close right on this door. This could be absolutely detrimental. They haven't got any information on his whereabouts to go down, but the player's still behind. I'm not too sure if he's been taken out. No, he hasn't. NZ Frankie still prevails. The diffuser going down. The trade needs to come out, and Kraken are going to win it. That's huge for the Cade. He's sitting in the corner. Kraken fight fire with, well, just letting it do whatever it wants to. Run into the site. They're waiting there to collect those kills. You do have to give it to him. I mean, that's one way to win it. That's the lack of information. That's the mistake. I was waiting for it. We were going to get one eventually. Not Quite Sure had a good run, but that's exactly what I mean. Now, if Not Quite Sure keep up doing what they've been doing, and as we've said they've been doing, you know, they'll learn that lesson. From now on out, we will see a lot of information being played. To be fair, probably not expecting a play like that, given that there's a Goyo on that door. You know, could have just popped it, played for the denial. Overall, it was a great play. NZ Frankie single-handedly winning that round. Yes, his teammates frag out elsewhere, but I mean, if those 2 players were allowed to prevail, flood into the site, play for those crosses, could have been a very different round. I mean, Not Quite Sure. They've done it before. They found 2 kills on the entry there. So, I mean, Spud, it could have been either way, but another tech pause here just while we saw some things out. And look, Not Quite Sure, they still lead 4-1 going into the last round of the half here. Do you think Kraken have what it takes to bring it to a 4-2 and then maybe even back in the next half?
Yeah, I think that last round was kind of indicative that, well, maybe, sorry, that last play perhaps is indicative of the trend we saw in that last round from Kraken, which, as you mentioned, was to play a little bit more passive and not be as hyper aggressive. And I think that was an example of that. Rather than peeking the door or the hatch, which certainly would have been a viable option, he chose to wait. In fact, he waited a very long time, very passively, and then of course was able to get that backstab in the 2K and the round. So perhaps that's an emblem, an example of things to come from Kraken, where they're going to stop playing so hyper aggressive, but as we saw, burn out some of the time from not quite sure, and then force them to walk in with no information at the last second. Speaking of time, though, this is the last round on their defense. So is it too late for Kraken to be making that adaptation? That's the question.
Probably, Spud. They got one round, so they have to pretty much change what they're doing in a round anyway, right? So the best they can hope for are 4-2. The best they're not quite sure are looking for is a 5-1, provided they may be able to achieve it. Now, we don't see any real changes from their roster build-up at all. Maybe some slight changes in utility, but that's pretty much it. They've been pretty consistent with what they're bringing. The double hard breach, with the Thatcher as well every round. Elements is quite happy on that. 7-4, currently leading the kill count. Not quite sure. Definitely comfortable with what they're doing right now.
Yeah, this approach so far has worked very, very well for them. They've made some adjustments to compensate for how Kraken are playing, and it's the same basic recipe with some added ingredients, and certainly it's that little bit of extra spice which has made their attack so successful. Once again, this con wall open up the top and then open up Logi to stop that reinforcement allows that the con window player to cut off any reinforcements falling forward towards cache or falling back away from that cache site. In fact, they have vacated it entirely, I believe. I'm sorry, there is still one more player in cache, but they're going to be left out to dry now because of that con wall being open.
Yeah, you do have one. Now, Dirty is on the cross, and that is pretty scary given how sharp this man can be. Now, they do have one in garage as well. Helix will actually take down Fakers. Now, the question will be, is the wall opened up? I'm not too sure. It may be. Press to find Frankie on the trade, but Pluto also takes one out before he is taken out himself. Now, the wall does appear to be opened up. So, if they're not quite sure, they do have plenty to work with here. They do still have a Thatcher. They do still have an Ace. But it's going to be on Elements. If you can find this opening kill here to give his team some leeway. I mean, the wall's not reinforced, so provided he wants to just send it, he could. But the Jaeger makes it out in the gym. Not quite sure how he's managed to do that, but this wall being soft is definitely going to make some interesting parts for the end of this round.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was soft. That is just not something you see at all. Once again, we're going into the dying seconds of, the last minute of this round. Helix with the second, but there you go. The soft wall does come back to bite him, but President gets taken down. Chef Jeff with the save. It's all up to Dirty now. It looks to be a 4-2 half we're going to be seeing here. Kraken have made some adjustments and it has worked out at the end. Chef Jeff, however, certainly was not the adjustment there, going pro. 1v3 now with one down. This actually quite doable, I'm not quite sure here.
Yeah, Dirty. I mean, he hears the res. He doesn't exactly, unfortunately, hit the shot, though. That's very sneaky. Through the alibi, between the bomb chassis, Tiltec locks it out, and Kraken don't go down completely kicking and screaming, but I don't imagine they're too happy with that half. That first 4 rounds was very, very slow from them, Spud. Not what we would expect from Kraken at all. And not quite sure. We're just deliberately playing exactly into how Kraken were sort of coming at them, and I don't think they necessarily expected it, but they did well in those last 2 rounds. As I said, they made the changes that they required, but is it too late? They now have to go onto the attack. Very similar lineup, a couple of different changes, obviously with the knock and the buck. We didn't see knock from not quite sure, as far as I know, as far as I remember, but it's gone straight away off to that Zofia, and the Ash as well from Tiltec. I mean, it's pretty much the same lineup except no Thatcher.
Yeah, I do expect that they're going to be having to rely on those grenades to get the job done in terms of opening the hatches, but here on the basement, it's not quite as reliable. So, of course, getting those hatches open are going to be key. No Kaid is, the saving grace here. It does mean that they at least guarantee those hatches to be open in terms of blue hatch, in terms of kitchen hatch, and in terms of, not kitchen hatch, the bar hatch. So we'll have to see how that works, but I do like the addition of Buck. That vertical is going to be huge, especially on this site. C4 though, and Impact coming back up will be the downfall of the Buck.
If you're playing from the first floor up, Spud, it should be relatively safe. I mean, Chef is someone who is very comfortable on that Buck. Now, no Impact EMPs at all here from Kraken, but not quite sure, not running the Cade. Maybe opting for the safety in the Maestro of Fakers, possibly. Not too sure what they're hoping for here in terms of denying that hatch. Maybe the Impact Tricks, they do have 4 on the board, so looks like that might be the play here for them, but for not quite sure, they're not playing too aggressively at all. They're letting Kraken take their time. A minute spent here. Top floor control not in their hands at all, but it's 5 on site. For not quite sure, just a complete bunker. Kraken taking a little bit too long here, arguably, on this top floor.
Yeah, those mute jammers definitely playing their part here. All they're doing is slowing down the drones, forcing Kraken to have to manually check everything. And then that's what Not Quite Sure wants. They don't want to lose those early gunfights. They don't want to lose players, so they're just going to force Kraken to run out of time. Now, Not Quite Sure did run into that mistake at the end, that 5th round where they didn't have that information on the player in Church. So they could be hoping for a similar mistake to come out from Kraken as well.
Yeah, it could definitely be the case, Spud, but either way, they've achieved some good time. Now, Not Quite Sure, 5 alive. Kraken still with that as well. Will now start opening up the hatches. The Buck going to work inside of the kitchen too. No Nitro close by to directly deny that vertical. Dirty playing inside of Church as opposed to the back of Armory, meaning Chef Jeff will be relatively safe for the time being, but Kraken have to get a bit of a wiggle on here. They've only got a minute left to play with, and that is not a lot of time given that they only have Moto Hatch open, and that is pretty much it, Spud.
Yeah, that time factor is going to be the decider here. As we mentioned, all Kraken, Not Quite Sure, were doing was just burning the time out. And it seems Kraken, once again, have fallen prey to this. They've kind of fallen into how Not Quite Sure are playing. Having said that, though, we've seen Not Quite Sure collapse onto the site right at the end. And Kraken are very good at aggression, so I certainly don't expect them to be slouching here either.
Yeah, we look to come to the execute. Kraken wanting to get at least 1 inside of the site, looking for maybe a trade. Dirty kicks it off, the C4 onto Pluto. Frankie takes down Prez from above, looking to rotate now to join his team. Looking for the execute through Moto. Doesn't quite spot the head of Dirty there, hiding behind that shield. This is going to be a big issue for them to push through. He swings on out, doesn't get 1. Faker's there for the trade. He finds 2 for himself, looking for the 3rd, but no, Tiltek with the pistol. He takes him down. He's looking to carry his team here by himself. Karma left in a 1v2. He takes out Tiltek. Now all he has to do is find the planter, and indeed he will through the chair. Karma off a huge 1 versus 2 takes the round for Not Quite Sure. The first on their defense, a bit shaky. Kraken with a great execute, but Karma there to lock it out.
Yeah, a little bit too close for comfort there, if I were Not Quite Sure. Probably could have burnt, if to be completely honest, they probably would have hoped to burn a little bit more time there for Kraken. As we saw, they did have to flood onto site. They walked in those crossfires, and especially with Fakers on that LMG holding down Mouse 1. Could have gone very, very poorly, save for some nice gun skill, gunplay coming out from Kraken. Of course, 1v2 from Karma also certainly helps. They do secure themselves another round and put themselves up 5-2 here.
Guys, what's with the element slander? I mean, come on. Give the man a break. He's doing his best. He's trying, but I mean, yeah, Fakers with the super skillful Mouse 1 Alder gaming. You know, it's been talked about so many times. The Alder is just absolutely insane. When you give it to someone like Fakers who can just click heads, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't get the 3rd there. I thought that the ace was hitting the deck, but it was Tiltek, I believe, from behind that took him out with the pistol. So either way, he was definitely good for 3 there. If I had to pick, I mean, if we had to rewind time and Tiltek wasn't there, I'd imagine he would have found that 3rd, but still, Not Quite Sure. They're only 1 away from match point here, Spud. That's not good if you're a Kraken fan.
Yeah, what a way to do it after all 4 not flawless, but very, very convincing rounds on the attack to start things off. And of course, their first defensive round. Not sure where that drone is going. Yeah, that might have been too much wheat mix this morning. As well. Yeah, too many wheat mix this morning. Throwing a little bit too hard here.
It was something. But yeah, that drone out of the picture now. They're going to focus on the wall first. Tiltec most likely looking to do some droning later on for Pluto as he comes up. Blue, but Prez is expecting it. He's got the ADS there. This is a position they're not quite sure are actively holding, and I don't think Pluto was expecting it, but maybe if Tiltec's drone hadn't been thrown too far away, he would have been able to drone that one for his teammate, but that is a huge kill to find. Prez takes down the sledge. 2 nades off the board and all the soft breach capabilities. That is a big loss for Kraken.
Yeah, that's certainly an unconventional position to say the least, but it denies so much. It stops you playing that secret window to try and get the grenades in. And it just forces anyone trying to go underneath to work with those grenades to have to clear that out. Of course, I think he has actually moved back up. Oh, I'm not sure. I think he's moved back upstairs now, having done the damage, and it's still... Yeah. No, he's still here. He's going to continue to hold this position. And Kraken, they're kind of stopped now. They've just slowed down a significant amount all outside the building, and this is fairly non-aggressive for Kraken.
They still got a lot of the control they needed. Now, the one issue they're going to run into here is as they try and take into garage, they've got 2 players towards Swamp, 1 inside of Lounge. You've got, obviously, Prez on the Jaeger just outside that blue door. You've got the Malusi right there through the wall. Elements will be taken down by Frankie, so at least they've cleared Rafters, but the call now relayed to Karma and Prez inside of this Lounge position. They know that there's someone there. The smoke comes out. This will allow them up Rafters, and this is going to be a difficult retake now for Not Quite Sure, as garage control is being forfeit. Karma does have an angle to play with here, but the player that needed to be up those stairs is already long gone, Spud, and now they're looking to cut them off from the main double door here. I mean, for Not Quite Sure, this is going to be a difficult one. Oh, Tiltec, he is there, and we'll take down Karma. The smoke's now to come out from Dirty to try and deny, but the positioning is just too good. Kraken have actually found some really big kills here as they are starting to go for this execute. Dirty is going to be single-handedly looking to shut it down. NZ Frankie is forced out by the smoke. Prez is there to lock it out. That's Diffuser on the floor as well. 10 seconds to play with. The Nitro to follow. Dirty finds another on the Tiltec. Pistol in the hands. Can't find the kill. Chef down by the smoke. It's all up to Helix. He's on the Diffuser. He's going to get pushed. He's going to get off. He's saving the KD. Not quite sure. Lock down another, and that's match point. Kraken, that should have been their round.
Yeah, Kraken had really, really good control. If you want to talk about the basic steps of a CCTV attack, they ticked all the boxes. They got the main wall, they got the garage wall open, they took out Rafters player, walked up Rafters, and usually that's enough to start working your execute. Of course, they still have the smoke in play, and I'm just not sure where NZ Frankie was going with that diffuser, but he stuck it. He tried to stick it and ended up dropping it behind that bomb, and then of course after that you were forced to rush in to get it. Still all the crossfires being held, although difficult, were sufficient to hold on to that. So really, really well played by Kraken and Not Quite Sure, but ultimately it's going to be Not Quite Sure who take the lead there. 6-2 now on match point. Can Kraken make that 4-round comeback?
Well, it's going to be a big question as to whether or not they can. However, look, great round from Not Quite Sure. I mean, the fact that they were able to hold on to that, they lost garage control so quickly. The fact that they were able to find that kill, NZ Frankie on the Thermite, taking down elements there in Rafters, was the door that needed to be opened. And Kraken had straight avenue onto the site. The smoke's placement, though, from Dirty, I mean, perfect. Every single throw, great. Locked that diffuser out and ultimately gave them the round. So Kraken are going to have to do some serious catching up now.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That is not what you need here. Karma pads his KD and takes down the Thatcher. Now, this is going to be a big concern here, because now how are you going to open up the walls? They were relying on that, but with that off the board, it's going to be up to the single set of grenades here. And interesting sight to make think, oh my goodness, a headshot onto Chef Jeff, and this is all falling apart right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, that's not good. It's not good at all. Chef goes down. You've lost Tiltec. I mean, that's 2 pretty important characters. Now, keep in mind, this is a bar stage bomb site. Not Quite Sure are unironically playing bar stage right now. Whether or not Kraken practice this, I mean, I know Pluto talked about practicing that downstairs execute. They look like they've definitely done rod review on that. This is something that may throw them for a bit of a loop, especially losing Chef as well. It's a very verticality enabled site. I mean, this is going to be a difficult round here to bring back Spud, losing those two players especially.
Yeah, you're going to have difficulty opening up the walls as well now. There's avenues of entry are very, very limited. And it seems like Kraken have slowed down in terms of what they want to do. They kind of want to figure things out. They are going to go through this horizontal take, I think, through that main stairs, open up that bathroom area, and then use that main stair position to cut off anyone trying to play on that stage area. But still, as we mentioned, the vertical play is still there, and a flank could easily come down those main stairs, and then your whole plan kind of falls apart.
Yeah, look, it's a difficult execute on this site, given that it's so open. I mean, there's so many angles to play with. Now, the player inside of stock is going to be a big deciding factor here. Dirty takes down Helix. It's now all up to Pluto and NZ Frankie. Now, Frankie's in a good position to possibly go for a plant here. However, Prez makes it a lot more difficult as he takes down Pluto. Not quite sure, are looking for a flawless round here to close it out, and they're going to get it. Karma there takes down NZ Frankie. 2 for him in the round. It's a good half in the chat. Not quite sure. Storm onto Clubhouse. Kraken's pick, keep in mind, Spud, and walk away with an easy breezy 7-2 victory. I mean, that is a monumentous way to start off your semi-finals run.
Yeah, this is not a score I would have predicted from this particular matchup. I mean, Kraken have played so well, and then unfortunately to see them fall so short in the semi-finals is just a little bit disappointing. Having said that, though, not quite sure that certainly deserve to be praised for that effort. 4 attacks in a row, 4 plants, I think, or maybe it might have been 3 plants.
3.
Yeah, 3.5, we called it. I mean, that just speaks volumes about how well versed they are at Clubhouse. They're certainly prepared, and that bar stage defense as well showed us that they had done their homework. I mean, that was a defense that Kraken just did not expect, and they just walked right into Not Quite Sure's waiting arms.
I mean, I just want to highlight once more, because I don't think we've talked about it enough. Not Quite Sure are playing a level of siege that you would expect from, or at least, you know, some of those mid-tier T1 teams. I mean, the level of coordination being brought, just everything that they were doing in that match was clean cut and polished, Spud. I mean, that was some of the best siege I think I've seen personally so far throughout this tournament. I mean, that was an absolutely insane game, but we will head to a short break before we get into match number 2 of this best of 3. Can Not Quite Sure close it out in 2? Find out after the break.
That guy's Energy here, and I am here at the Sky Tower in Taimaki Makaurau to check out the new Sky Slide, which is just opened. Let's go check it out. This is their brand new virtual reality experience based up on their main observation deck. It's a crazy ride, offering 360-degree views of Auckland at up to 100 kilometers per hour. The motion platform imitates the 3D rendered open-air slides, twists and turns above the skies of Taimaki Makaurau. Counting down. Punch it. Let me at him. Hey! Free air. Whoa! Whoever's done the render for this has done like an incredible job. Whoa! It's also really comfortable, like the motion platform's super nice. It's actually really selling all of these like different twists and turns. Another free fall, whoa! Whoa! We're heading home, boys, we're heading home. Whew. So it's $40 for the experience, which includes viewing platform access, or it's just $15 on top of your tower ticket. And it's for ages 8 and up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the break. We're here at easy breezy first map on Clubhouse for Not Quite Sure. Kraken left in the dust a little bit there, Spud. They had their 2 rounds on defense, but were not able to do anything on the attack whatsoever. We go straight on to map number 2. Villa is where we are headed to now. I mean, are you expecting the same? I mean, Not Quite Sure have a great track history on this map. 4 flawless rounds in a row with an ace from Karma against teams like Get a Grip. I mean, that's not a name that you'd usually expect to say that about, and yet here we are. We go on to Villa. What do we think it's going to be the future for Kraken here?
Yeah, look, I'm honestly pretty worried for Kraken. Having gone through that first map, your map pick at a 7-2 loss, and then having to go on to, Not Quite Sure, probably their favorite map, their best map, knowing that you are now a point behind, where this is, of course, could be the ending point here. It's a difficult position. Kraken certainly are a good team, and I think they have the mental fortitude to keep playing and get through that. But just in terms of the statistics and way things adds up, certainly the momentum is in favor of Not Quite Sure. And if I really had to pick, I would pick a Not Quite Sure 2-0 victory right now.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet, Spud. Unless Kraken do break something out of the woodwork here, it's going to have to be a deep reach into the packet of biscuits, I think, for Kraken to find a crumb of something that they can use, because hyper aggression hasn't worked. We saw them make some changes on the end of the defense. That was great, 2 rounds in a row for them. But after that, nothing else worked that they tried to employ. Because, as we said, and Not Quite Sure started fighting fire with fire, and that was they played aggressive, but then they played passive as well. We head over onto Villa now. We get into the side of game number 2 for this best of 3. And I mean, Spud, this one is looking like it's going to be a banger, another banger that we want to tell you guys about. The Roccat Burst Pro Air, a lightweight optical wireless RGB gaming mouse, is available now in stores and online. Make sure you check it out. And thanks again to Roccat. But Spud, look, 7-2 was not a great start for Kraken. Hopefully Villa holds a little bit more for them, but we start things off as always with the bans. And look, Pluto, he's already letting us know, but what are we expecting? Similar ban phase, but it's a similar map. I mean, I don't expect why we wouldn't see a repeat here.
Yeah, Azami off the board would make perfect sense, though I'm starting to feel like Kraken might be going for those target bans here. Just based on how I'm not quite sure I've been playing.
Okay.
That's a target ban. That's a target ban.
Yeah. 100% Glaz to go. I mean, it's not what you usually see. Not quite sure. I can't really say that they usually employ Glaz a whole lot, but not to go, that's definitely something that we would have expected on Villa. I'm not quite sure, maybe going for the more straightforward side of bans here. Look, either way, it is so far, bar the Glaz, a relatively straightforward banning pool. Azami to follow, no surprise. Final defending ban spud. What are we thinking? Valkyrie, Mirror?
I mean, the Mirror didn't have such a big impact on Clubhouse anyway. I think Not Quite Sure have been able to find ways around it. So I don't think it'll be the Mirror. I think it'll be the Valkyrie here, which will get removed unless...
okay, sure, yeah.
Interesting back here.
Okay.
I mean, you are crippling Chef Jeff here, so...
Oh, apparently crippling Fakers. He's very ecstatic with that ban there. He's guys, thank you so much. Now, something I do want to highlight coming in this spud, we had Kraken start defense on Clubhouse, the favoured side. You do have to agree. We come onto Villa again. Kraken are starting on the defensive side, again the favoured. I mean, history to repeat itself. Chef Jeff's Discord crashed. I mean, it's all looking like it's starting to come to fruition here, as long as Not Quite Sure don't fumble the bag.
Yeah, Not Quite Sure have made very few mistakes. There have been mistakes, mind you. We remember that infamous backstab, but they're just not enough for Kraken to capitalize on, and for them to be relying on them every single time, it's going to be difficult. Now, we did see Kraken make adjustments late in their defense on Clubhouse, and it wasn't enough because we had to switch sides here. If they kind of start playing from that same style here, then things might be looking up for them. They have to be willing to not to roll back or reel back some of that hyper aggression here and wait for Not Quite Sure to come to them. Of course, they might just take it up a notch and play even more aggressively. Maybe, maybe that might be a strategy. We'll find out here.
Yeah, overall, Not Quite Sure on their attacking half had an amazing start. Now, Dirty has jumped on the Zofia. Karma is on the Jackal. Very similar style of play. You go for that lurk. It's something that Karma is very comfortable on. But I mean, let's just focus on how fast he's come up Astro here. The drone information right now, for Not Quite Sure, must be absolutely impeccable to know that he can take all the way through that connecting hall to the top of Astro. They do have Rook inside of the bathtub. Pluto will go down, but given that they've got the Rook, he can pick himself up, and there's a flank from Chef Jeff. The information might not be as good as we thought.
Yeah, Chef Jeff has been huge on those flanks. He is the key player there, but a second grenade will...
They don't know he's in the bath.
Pluto. Oh my goodness, there it is. A shotgun in play, but President gets that trade at least. Otherwise, that would have been a little bit embarrassing. Okay. But hey, you were mentioning the information. It seems to have faltered here.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a small amount. Dirty and Karma go down. And Elements, we spoke to him, I believe, 2 weeks ago. We did see Kraken bringing out the Rook pretty much religiously every round, and Tiltek was exclusively using the shotgun. Tiltek told us that was them memeing, right? Possibly for us to assume, safe to assume maybe, that Kraken have resorted to a little bit of tomfoolery before the end of this match spot. I'm just theory crafting here, but with Tiltek going straight not only into the bathtub, but he had his teammate proning next to him in the shower. He was proning in the bathtub. He's got a shotgun, and I believe there was a third person over towards Statue Trophy, which was NZ Frankie. So I mean, I don't know. It's looking pretty interesting.
Well, maybe it's not so much tomfoolery as they have seen the light, the power of CQB. It's amazing. It's got incredible range. Fortunately, not enough to save Mike Python. I'm not trying to pronounce it anymore. Not enough to save Tiltek there for his second kill. It is kind of a 2-2 trade here. You do lose two really prominent entry fraggers, but you've still got utility left to work. No frag grenades, but at least Fakers is alive. Elements can shut off any further roams from Chef Jeff. And one more C4 on the defensive side. So both these teams counting down, but it's 20 seconds now. They have to go for the execute jumps in once, but Elements will be able to get at least Chef Jeff for a trade. It's now a 1v1. Faker's looking for that last player. Helix playing it safe. He's going to stay well off-site. 10 seconds remaining. Helix still backing off now. As Faker's just forced to go for that plant, Helix should be able to come around, catch him on that rotate. But no, the plant will actually go down. He does find him. That would have been so close. Helix clutches things out to put Kraken up on the lead.
I mean, that was a little bit too close. He hit the L as well. Oh my. Oh. I don't know if you should be dropping an L after almost throwing around like that. But look, it worked, I guess. They win the round. Fakers was close to clutching that. But yeah, look, Spud, a close round. Coming down to the 1v1, you do have to give it to Fakers. He almost got the job done. But I'm seeing Cav from Frankie. I'm seeing Pluto jump on the yellow. I can only assume he has the shotgun. Tiltek's locked in the Rook again. I mean, okay, no FO12. Shotgun is in the hands of Tiltek, and NZ Frankie is on the Kavira. I mean, this is... Have Kraken just thrown the strap book out the window and they're hoping to catch Not Quite Sure off guard? Because it definitely worked in that first round. So, I mean, it might be a viable strategy.
Well, you know what they say, right? If we don't know what they're doing, there's no way they can know what we're doing either. And it seems to have worked. I mean, consider the fact that it was 3v3 and I looked at the time and it was 30 seconds remaining. Not Quite Sure had to go for that execute. They had wasted so much time trying to clear out the remaining roamers and kind of getting that map control that they were forced in that rush execute. And we've seen, you know, a slight crack in the arm of Not Quite Sure. They made the same mistake when they played Kraken's last 2 defensive rounds, and maybe Kraken have figured something out.
This is an interesting strategy here from Kraken. Now, I do want to highlight APAC South teams, start taking notes, guys, because these are the pioneers of our region. The shield in that hallway, so much cover, the Elamine as well. I mean, this is a strat. Now, Tiltek's taking a lot of damage. He almost took Karma out, by the way. He was close to finding that kill. The cab downstairs has actually found a kill. Elements is taken down by NZ Frankie and the silent step with the Lucian there. I mean, what's going on, Spud? What is happening?
Dude, I'm just disappointed he didn't double down and take the interrogate. There was no one there. You wouldn't expect there to be anyone there. And now he's paid the price for it. He doesn't get another opportunity. NZ Frankie is shut down now. So, hey, but you got to give them credit. As much tomfoolery as they're bringing it.
Oh, chef.
Oh,
okay.
Oh no. It's working. You can't deny that.
Look, I don't know if working would be the word I'd choose. It's doing something. It's definitely doing something, Spud. But it's converting rounds. I guess we can say that. However, Chef does open the door a little bit. He takes down one, and does manage to get away. However, punished now by Dirty. Pluto trades back straight away though. So 2 versus 2 here. Not quite sure it's a doable situation for them. The bomb is upstairs. Have they faked the bomb side as well, or like are we just? Are they just pushing downstairs because they really want to get rid of Pluto? It looks like that might be the case. He's almost going to win that fight straight away. Prez takes a lot of damage here. Does fall back towards that China position as Fakers now comes to support. But I mean, Spud, they really want to get rid of him, and there you go. Prez takes him out through the wall. Headshot clean and done. It's all up to Helix again. Can he pull the back-to-back clutches?
I feel like they've kind of just foregone the whole site thing and they're playing team deathmatch just with drones and one life. They're just trying to kill each other now. They haven't even bothered with any utility. And I mean, it's fair play, right? There's only one player left. You just need to shut him down. However, he is in a very, very good position. That frag grenade will be one of 2. President now looking for him as he comes down that corridor. But yeah, the frag grenades aren't going to find him. That means they are going to have to go for that gunfight. Just surprised they haven't chosen to rotate over earlier. Just ignore him completely. And yeah, they're doing that now. Fakers and President versus Helix.
No Nitro to work with. Does have the Valkyrie cameras. I'm assuming maybe set up somewhere inside of the site. If he can play for at least 1 kill here, he's going to be on. They have to play for the trade. They've opted to go towards Trophy. Just completely disregarding Statue on the bomb chassis. Not quite spotted. Oh my god, Helix! What a shot. He's got the Rook armor too. He can withstand. He's picking himself up. Fakers doesn't know that he's downed. This could be huge, but no, he's given up on the dream. He could have picked himself up there. He could have kept going, Spud. That was an insane flick. But my god. He just gives up on the self-res. I don't know why. Maybe he let go of his key. Maybe his keyboard disconnected. Not quite sure with it, but arguably, I mean, they just shouldn't have. They should not have won that. Kraken Look, that was close. That was really close. But I think throwing the strat book out the window is the best thing that they've done all night, Spud. Maybe even all split, because so far, not quite sure of been getting down to these 1v1 situations and visibly struggling.
The fact that he almost managed to pick himself up, that could have worked. The fact that it almost did. I don't know what to say. Like, not quite sure, going from so dominant suddenly to struggling in 1v1s like that is markedly a very, very different tone. And I think Kraken have taken that in their stride there. We've talked to them before. They like to have fun. They like to, chill with it. And that seems to have worked out more in their favor. Maybe, Chef Jeff coming in and saying, nah, I want to win. Maybe that wasn't the play. He should have just not said anything, and they probably would have done better, let's be honest.
Probably, Spud, but still, no strap book is better than a strap book, apparently, in the hands of Kraken. They got the dock now too, to pair with the rook. I mean, it is just... It's what can we get away with? I mean, ANZ Frankie's got the sausage, for crying out loud. It is just... There is genuinely no method to the chaos. And I don't understand it, but I'm loving every bit of it.
Oh, there you go. The doc has done it. He's taken out Karma for free as well. No damage done either way. And honestly, if he gets away with this as well, that would just be embarrassing. Does get away with his life, manages to rotate away. Dirty on the hunt now, but isn't quite able to find him. I think there's one actually going around for seconds, though, in the study area.
Yeah, they are. They're following it up. Prez takes down Helix, though, so he won't be clutching this round. Oh, no. They've got the Valkyrie cameras below for the shotgun. Pluto finds another to take down Dirty. Shotgun here now, too, but Pluto is taken out by Elements. No self-res, and those stims taken to the grave now. 3 versus 3. Not quite sure in a good position to do some work here. Provided they pick the pace up a little bit. They've lost some really big characters. But the run out from the sausage, the flying NZ, he's allowed to walk behind Elements and run outside to take down your Hibana. That is a shame. That is a big shame. Faker's punished there. That's got to hurt, but Kraken, you've got Tiltek left alive on this shotgun. He's going to collect with it too. He takes down Prez. At this point, it's all up to Elements. He's got 2 to find inside of the site. 1 behind him, 1 in front of him. Chef and Tiltek should have a relatively easy time here. But look, overall, hang on a minute.
Ooh.
Elements is sharp. He takes Chef, but Tiltek, if he's allowed to get close, this is going to be scary for Elements.
Yeah, this is kind of not the position he wants to be in. He's very, very far away, and Elements is able to cut off both these sides. So 40 seconds, he's still got plenty of time to kind of hunt him out. He does... Oh, no! The shotgun! The sniper shotgun! Here it is! I told you it's great at long range.
Oh, my. Okay. It's my aura. Hey, Chef did say that there was something happening with his Discord. And I don't know now. Maybe someone has gone, you know what? Here, good luck. Take this, and it's a helping hand. They've put the shotgun in the hands of Tiltek. That's what the gods did. And he's starting to use it now, and it's starting to get scary because Kraken lead for the first time in this matchup, Spud. Not quite sure. They are visibly struggling, and I don't know why, but Kraken... Reject modernity, return to monkey is the best thing that they have employed this whole stage, hands down. I don't care what anyone else says. This is it. This is peak Kraken.
It's certainly very, very entertaining as well to see it being employed to such effect. Like, there's trolling and memeing where you don't win, but then there's trolling and memeing where you're winning, and that's what's happening here. The shotguns have just been doing the damage, and not quite sure seem to have lost their footing. At least that momentum they previously had has well and truly been broken. No matter what goes on from here on out, it will have to be, not quite sure, bringing back more new momentum and starting over again, because that has been a complete mental reset. Oh no!
Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, dude.
Oh no!
Elements is just put to bed. He's been there, dude. Not quite sure are currently on the spin cycle, and Kraken are just... It's like they've thrown a brick in a dryer. It's doing whatever it wants. And I don't even know how to break it down right. Like, we could say some cool stuff about this, that, and the other, and this strategy's really sick, but there is no method to this madness. It is quite literally give Tiltech a shotgun, give Pluto a 1.5, and send it. And he's got another. Karma's dead. I mean, this is completely different than what we saw in game one. What is going on?
I'm just disappointed that Fakers hasn't embraced the shotgun himself and taken the SQCQB with him. Chef at least does fall, so you down the shotgun god himself, but what happens when his disciples, his underlings, decide to get revenge? There is still another shotgun in play here.
There's still plenty left. I mean, we've already seen Tiltech be quite deadly at close range here. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets at least one in this round. He's roaming on the Rook. That's another thing. He's roaming Rook shotgun every round, and he's positive. It's barely, but he's positive. He has snuck by a drone, or at least away from Dirty, who was at the bottom of red there. And I mean, Kraken, they hold an advantage. I just don't know how, Spud. Not quite sure. They're just not doing what they need to be doing.
Yeah, I like you said, I'm not sure how to break this down because it just comes down to shotgun go brr, and also Pluto go brr. It's simple, as I say, it's a simple method, but it works. And I mean, they're 4-1 in terms of advantage. Fakers is left outside all by himself. I expect the shotgun to be greeting him very, very soon. So I don't think it's long for this round at least. And Kraken are probably going to put themselves up another, unless they start throwing. Tiltech will go down, but hey, there's still 3 players left alive, and I think they're just going to hang out and wait for him to push now.
Look, I was going to say that Pluto could have been on for the ace there. However, Helix had to go and ruin it. Found a kill. And again, yeah, Fakers 1 versus 3. It's a likely achievable, but given that, you know, there's only 15 seconds left, someone's moving a shield around. He does find the head of Helix at least. Looks to maybe rotate away, or he's going to commit. He has to pick very quickly, though. Possibly just waiting for the bait kills to come on out. Bolts on through the shield there. It's going to make things difficult. Does do some damage to Pluto, but with only 2 seconds left, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do too much more. He's peeking in with the dog pistol. Kraken are confident they're going to take another round. Not quite sure, guys. I mean, that is exactly what I was about to say. Where's the timeout? Chef Jeff hitting them with the needed. And look, 45 seconds, sort something out, because there is something going very, very wrong.
It looks like the weakness of Not Quite Sure wasn't, you know, well thought out strategy. It wasn't coordination. It wasn't even hitting your shots. It was just bring a shotgun. If I'd known it was that simple, right, I would have done that. I would have played. You know, just bring a shotgun. Cool, I come second in the competition. But somehow I think it's more down to Kraken. They've got that magic to make it work. And suddenly being free from expectations like trying to win has enabled them to put on their best performance. They are, you know, 3-1 up, and it's now up to Not Quite Sure to catch up. And this is not a position I would have foreseen at the start of this round. I mean, start of this map.
Yeah, no. And, I mean, it's 3-3 is the best we could hope for. And, like, that is a very stark difference from game one. I mean, the amount of dominance we saw, I mean, we've highlighted multiple times, you know, Not Quite Sure we're playing some of the best Siege that we had seen in that first game. We come into game 2, Kraken have plugged the controllers in, they've put blindfolds on, they're playing operator roulette inside of the building, and Not Quite Sure are lost, genuinely lost. They've got no hope at countering it. They have for 1 round, and it came down to a 1v1. I mean, it could be a 2-2. You know, Fakers could have won that 1v1 in round number 1, but Helix was there to stop that. They're just playing past the cab. I mean, Chef's cab now. NZ Frankie's got the sausage again. I mean, Spud, I genuinely have no idea what is going. You never see a cab. You don't see a cap can sausage. I mean, Helix is just making their job easier as well. At this point, like, if you're not quite sure, do you just GG go next? Because there's just something that's not working right now.
And that tactical timeout was as mentioned, much needed. But if nothing changes this round, then I think it's over. I'm not quite sure. At least for this map, we will be going to map 3 because if they can't find a way to pull back from Memory like that, what can you do? Your strategies aren't working yet. Everything is falling apart. It's like a T1 team suddenly playing against Silvers in ranked and it all falls apart type of feeling. That's a vibe I'm getting from them right now.
I can vouch I am that Silver, and I have taken a fair few elos in my day playing like this. So if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And if you're cracking, you got to take them where you can get them, because after that first game, you're going to need some kind of leg up. But Elements kicks it off with a great kill, takes down Pluto. That's a great gun off the board too. I mean, the MX4 Storm in the hands of someone like Pluto, who had a great round in the previous, was almost on for 4 kills. Look, the amount of damage they can do early is going to be a large sort of tell factor here for winning or losing rounds. And it's a great kill to find. Pluto down is definitely a good start.
Seems at least not quite sure are being a lot more careful with their droning. They're not going to get caught out by anyone hiding in the bathroom here. They're going to take their time. They're going to look for these more advantageous angles to take those fights because they know they can't be playing close up against those shotguns. So they're going to hold from a long range. Tiltek now looking to double down with the Super 90 or the Sniper 90. He will manage to get close, but gets tagged and spotted and down. The President will find that kill, and suddenly, if Kraken flicked the switch, so did Not Quite Sure. This is much more reliable.
I have a very strong feeling, Spub, that NZ Frankie's going to get a kill doing this. And someone I'm not quite sure is going to be very upset. Because look at him, he's genuinely just standing. He's taking his keyboard out. It's gone. He's not using it. He's just standing underneath the hatch. Chef Jeff as well underneath the window and bench. I mean, I can guarantee the Not Quite Sure comms sound a little bit like, guys, where is everybody? What's going on? There's no one on the site. What's happening? And we come down to the final 40. Helix does have a cross. They at least have some semblance of a standard setup here for this site hole. But as we come into the final 30, both sites are clear. I mean, both sites are empty. You've got Chef Jeff in China, or very close to China. Okay, he did it. I told you he was going to do it. Dirty has been robbed, in fact. And the position relayed, there is going to be a trade. You'd hope there's a trade. He will get, there you go. There is a trade from Fakers. Chef Jeff's going to get one. Stop. No, surely not like this. Come on, Not Quite Sure. The diffuser going down. No way. No way. He's going to take down the ace. Connor. What's happening? What is going on? Not quite sure. How do you lose that? He just runs in from China. Oh my days, guys! Look. Oh, Chef. It's happening, Spud. It is happening. Modernity has been rejected, and Chef Jeff is the physical embodiment of monkey. How did they get away with that?
Oh my goodness. I'm so confused right now. I'm just writing question marks down for notes because there is nothing to note there, right? Like, on paper, everything should go according to plan. Even with that laundry kill with the shotgun, Not Quite Sure still have the positioning and they have the players there to hold that plan. It should be fine, yet here comes Chef, just bolts in. And there you have it. He downs a planter and Not Quite Sure just caught looking the wrong way. It's 4-1 to Kraken. What?
I've got no clue. I genuinely have no clue. I've seen a lot of games in my time, Spub. I don't think any of them have panned out like this. I mean, 7-2 in the first map. Yeah, awesome, sweet. We go on to map 2, guys. Just do whatever you feel like. I don't think that's ever been the case. But for Kraken, it is working wonders right now. And Not Quite Sure are just in shambles. I mean, they're down 3 rounds to a team that don't even look like they're actively playing the game. I mean, look at this. What is NZ Frankie doing? And he hasn't even been droned. That's the best bit. Right now, they don't even know that he's there. The drone comes in. Is it going to even spot him? No. If he hadn't have shot it, it wouldn't have seen him. And he's going to get away. I mean, what are Kraken doing to be allowed to get away with this stuff? Not quite sure. You got to capitalize on those.
I don't know what's going on, and I don't think Not Quite Sure know either. They just haven't been able to find a way around this. Cav gets away as well. He's still on full health, right? And they're just wasting time. That's a minute wasted. Certainly more going to be wasted here as they're forced to drone out every roamer in every nook and cranny, and that is what Kraken are banking on.
They do take down Enzo Frankie finally. Now, Chef Jeff could be the big decision maker here. He's on the bottom of the library stairs, or just very close to. Right behind two players here from Not Quite Sure. They do have the air jabs up, so Elements at least does have that avenue covered, but half the round is gone, Spud. They haven't really gained control of much. They're still trying to make their way up into this bar ABG side, and they just don't really have anything to show for it other than that 1 kill onto Frankie, which, let's be honest, they struggled to find. This is going to be difficult if they don't pick the pace up a little bit here.
Yeah, the other thing they don't realize is that map control isn't as secure as they think. There is still the Cav on the flank. So if you add it all up, they really only have a very tenuous hold on this side of the map. A C4 and oh, another shotgun kill. Karma goes down, and now it's just Dirty and Elements, and they are back to square one. They've just got this Aviator side, and there's still so many players to find. 4 of them, in fact, 2 stacked up on this door. The moment Dirty swings, he's going to get shut down.
1 close left, 1 top red. Elements is off doing his own thing somewhere. I'm not even going to touch on that. He's off. There's 3 players pinging him right now. He's going to do so much damage. Dude, it was just bang, bang, bang. Damage, damage, damage. The drop shot from Helix to log it out. Elements does spot 1. He gets the down. He's looking for the confirmation on his trade. He does find the first. Doesn't get the second, though. How does Tiltec get away? This is highway robbery, Spud. Not quite sure. Are definitely living up to their name right now because they've got no idea what to do. And Kraken are going to walk away with a better half than what Not Quite Sure found on Club. This is their map pick. Tiltec's definitely hitting the snooze right now. If you know, you know. But that is just a 5-1-half doing that, Spud. Oh, it's just going to be an interesting game.
I can't imagine what is going to happen on border. Will they keep doing this? Because it's certainly working,
yes.
Right? Right. Like, you could argue that maybe they started doing this because they thought, hey, we don't have a chance. We might as well just have some fun, right? But if it's working so well, you know, maybe you just stick with it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Oh, Spud, I mean, look at the line. I can't say it with a straight face. Look at the lineup. Okay, it's changed. Mildly, it's changed. We did have a Carly, but we got Blitz from Frankie. We did have a Carly from Tiltec. We've got a Sens now. Pluto and the captain. I mean, this is just a random tag bag of operators that are now making their way towards the building, and I fear for our mental sanity at this point, and I'm pretty sure, Not Quite Sure, we'll probably mirror those feelings, Spud.
This is like when you play ranked with a bunch of randoms at 3 AM and you don't really care. It's on your Smurf account and you're like, whatever, let's just do whatever.
They're in. They're already in on the main breach. Tiltec's taking down 1. Fakers to trade. Elements is there to take down Frankie. That's the Blitz out of the equation. It's a 3. Make it 2 versus 4 now. Is Not Quite Sure. Come out on top of the defensive side, looking to make it a few more. They will find 1. Tiltec goes for another. He's taken out by the Frostmat of all things. And Fakers is there for 3 in the round. If that Frostmat wasn't there, that was definitely doable. But Not Quite Sure. They hold on from the rush. Kraken, unfortunately, that one's not working out maybe as you would have intended.
I mean, the fact that they got so far in just based off that rush is pretty impressive. They just walked in and managed to catch quite a few people off guard. And as you mentioned, if it had not been for that Frostmat, certainly would have been a very difficult position for Not Quite Sure. So, hey, sometimes you just gotta hit them with the same thing, you know. If they're bringing some tomfoolery, you bring some of your own. You put some Frostmats in some random spots. hey, it works out. You get yourself back onto the board, back onto the horse after, you know, being kicked in the front teeth by Kraken.
I just don't even know what to say at this point. It's an interesting one. I will say that at a minimum. But whatever Kraken are doing, or whatever they were doing on that defensive arc, they need to get some more of that and continue with that. I mean, the rush was probably the best way to start it, but I don't think it's going to be the way they're going to win it. Now, they got a little bit more of a normal lineup this time, but Amaru is obviously the interesting choice here. I mean, not quite sure. They still have 3 rounds to catch up, Spud. That's a lot.
Yeah, the question is whether Amaru is going to go. The hatch, of course, the main one will be that Astro hatch. Could have the potential to do a lot of damage, have that surprise factor, but only if there isn't anyone actually playing behind the Astro desk. So we'll see where that plays out, but again, could actually work out in Kraken's favor. Though they have taken a more traditional approach here, and that does seem to be working out well. They've gone that opening pick, 2 opening picks to start things off, almost a third here. They are well into the site. They've got half of the site, half of the map already, and it hasn't even been a minute.
Some good control. Tiltek will get traded out by Dirty. And the flashbang here from NZ Frankie will be looking to take down his counterpart. Chef Jeff, can I highlight Sledge Shotgun? Just want to point that out real quick. Anyway, back to the normal viewing procedures. Another flashbang miss there by NZ Frankie. Look, for not quite sure, they've got an interesting setup and not really any utility that they have to worry about in terms of clearing that setup. So very doable, but with Prez taking down Pluto, it does open the door here for not quite sure to lock this round out. Now, Tiltek went huge and found those 2 openers. So hopefully his team can convert on that and lock it down. But Chef with the shotgun through the floor has almost just taken out Prez on an inkling, but unfortunately isn't going to connect.
Yeah, I think had Tiltek slowed down just a fraction, allow his team to catch up, they could be in a really powerful position, but unfortunately, Tiltek dying there did give up the little bit of control they had. Karma playing close to Chef Jeff and a second.
My God! Frankie! He's put to bed through the wall. Karma. That was a crazy flick. But once again, it's on Helix to clutch it. A 1 versus 2. He's done it before, or at least he was close. Can he do it here? We'll hit the pre-fire, and no, Dirty's there to lock it out. With the alibi. Karma, my God, there's a reason this guy is player of the week and consistently player of the week, because he just doesn't miss.
Well, it seems with that return to more traditional Siege, I think so has Kraken's success. They did start off strong, as we mentioned. They got those 2 early picks and not quite sure. Actually kind of caught off guard there. Unfortunately, they didn't have the player count, or at least the kind of manpower to back that up. If they had committed to the rush at that time, I think that probably would have worked. Just given the fact that they could have just kept playing for those trades and would have ended up on the better half of that. But with that, they will seed another round to not quite sure, who have started their arduous journey back to, you know, making things right, bringing us back to regular Siege programming.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, somewhat.
10 seconds remaining.
Sort of, Spud. It's difficult to say, to be honest, what I'm expecting out of these next few moments, but regardless of what happens, I'm sure it's going to be a great matchup. We've already had a banger map 1. This has already been a great map 2. I don't care who wins it at this point. Like, we could go to all 3 and I wouldn't be that upset. But look, not quite sure. They're 2 away now from equalizing. And it looks like the Kraken might be going for a little bit of a send here. We saw the main door open up pretty quickly. Pluto leading the charge there with Tiltek behind. And there you go. It's actually NZ Frankie to find the first. Tiltek now downstairs has made his way into living, but Spud, the spread's quite large here if you're not quite sure. This could be big for Kraken.
Elements does get taken down, and his information. Where is he? I swear I can hear him right next to him. He is indeed. He does get away with his life for now, but forced to fall back, and this really, really early kind of push. That's forced them all back to site.
Well, okay. Elements wins that. Takes down Tiltec. He's won that gunfight. A 4 versus 4. Not quite sure, in a pretty good position. They've only lost Dirty. That's a Nitro. And a very insane gunner at that. But it is... the way this has panned out is rather interesting. Kraken took so much ground, Spud, in the first minute. 30 seconds even. Not quite sure, not there to greet them, but then just retook that ground. You know, they've shut down a lot of what Kraken had going on. And this is just... I don't know how to even break these rounds down.
Oh,
He gets another. Oh,
Again, they have that position, but they don't have anything to back it up. And then Tiltec gets picked out on his own. Pluto gets picked out on his own, and it's just turning into ones. Elements gets a third here. He is on like 25 health. You could sneeze on him, and he died.
He gets 4! How? How does he find 4 in that round on 20 HP? I mean, this is just... It doesn't... It's one bullet, guys. Shoot him once in the leg. He's gone. He's out. Out for the count, sleeping. No. Just didn't hit him once. It is... Yeah, look, Dirty even knows it. I could probably see that Elements is just absolutely losing it in the VC right now. But, like, that is just... I don't even know.
Attackers need to
I don't even know, Spud. Not quite sure they're one away from equalising. And Kraken, they are... I don't know. They had a great start, but now they're starting to struggle that they're trying to play that straightforward siege.
Yeah, it is, of course, a little bit more difficult to kind of throw a spanner in the works on the attack, because you do have to be leading the charge, and if you don't get things right, you don't... It's not as forgiving. You don't have time and the map to work to your advantage. So, Kraken, you can see they've tried to go for that rush. It didn't work the first time. The second time, these next few rounds just haven't been in their favor. I think they're kind of reverting to that now. They've gone back to the monkey mode. They've got the Mario. They've got the Blitz. Even got the Grim. This is the first time I've seen him played for like Yonks. And Pluto on the Ying, this might just be a full send, and they're just reverting.
Okay, dude. Chef Jeff has plugged his controller, and it's official, ladies and gentlemen. He's lost all the remaining brain cells that he had. And so has NZ Frankie as Karma sprays them all over the bathroom wall with the MP5. Now, he has spotted another on the main stairs. Some good damage has been dealt. However, another head to find. He's looking for more, but Pluto with the Ying shotgun takes it out. Iron sights as well, by the way. Prez is good for a second. It's all up to Helix. I don't know what the game plan was here, Kraken, but you've tossed the lead that you hadn't have been. 4 rounds. It's worth nothing. Helix finds himself in another position worth clutching. I don't know what he's going to do, but Pluto's calling it now in chat. And I could see how he would think that. Karma is sometimes just that good, but unfortunately that's not the case, my man. It is a 4v1 Spud. And yeah, look, round over. Not quite sure equalise. I think we could be safe to lock in at this point in time.
Yeah, I don't think Not Quite Sure are going to give anything away for free. I think they've learnt their lesson, having suffered a 4-round deficit early on. So I think they're content just to sit back and wait. And there's plenty of time to do that waiting as well. So Helix can definitely have a good crack at it. He might be able to find 1 or 2 picks here and certainly make things doable. But in terms of the utility, he's still got flashbangs and 2 line scans to work with. So it's doable, but very, very difficult.
I just genuinely don't think it happens. It's going to be difficult. Helix has definitely taken his time, but he's got plenty of it. I mean, we got Pluto asking the really important questions in chat. I do have to highlight that one. But it's Helix tab for confidence moment there from Tiltec. Look, again, plenty of times, but I don't think we need to waffle on about it too much. You just look at that way, Not Quite Sure playing it. They are not feeding a single kill into this man who, let's be honest, is hip firing his way to the site. Dirty does finally close it down, but Kraken have forfeit 4 rounds here, so I'm not sure. I rate it, but at the same time, if you want to win, this is not how you want to be doing it.
It seems that Not Quite Sure have kind of caught on to the game here. They've expected weird and wacky and wonderful things coming out from Kraken, and especially that rush there was shut down very, very well. They had the crossfires to make sure they couldn't take those 1v1 fights, and any losses would instantly be brought back off a refrag. So well done to Not Quite Sure, at least for being able to get the mental back, because it would have been chalked after that first half, right? You're going in 7-2 to your best map, and you get memed on by a bunch of guys with shotguns. Like, well done, at least, for bringing it back to 5-5. That's 4 rounds in a row for Not Quite Sure.
Yeah, look, Not Quite Sure have done really, really well. I mean, jokes aside, I know this map has been one big joke from Kraken. They've just been having fun with it. But on top of that, you look at the resourcefulness from Not Quite Sure. You know, we've said it. You know, they make the adaptation, they change up the style, and they get the job done. It did take them a long time because it's a pretty hard adaptation to make when you've got no idea what the general strategy is of the enemy team. However, the change has been made, Spud. You know, they're getting it done, and they have got those 4 rounds. They've come back to a winnable position, and as long as Kraken, you know, continue doing what they're doing, I mean, Not Quite Sure in 2 could still be the case.
Yeah, it was looking a bit dire for a while there, looking like we are going to go to border, but I think Not Quite Sure I've figured things out. Kraken, though, still up to their old tricks, and this one could actually work, sending someone into, oh no. Sending someone into Astra like that, timed correctly, could really break the site wide open, but that's something that Kraken have struggled with, I think, getting that timing right and having people to back each other up. They send Tiltek forward, but a lot of the time he's just by himself and there's no kind of anyone to cover him. So if they manage to do that and fix that, I think, you know, they're onto something.
Well, there is at least someone here for the trade now droning in forward, and he will make it up Astro with the support of NZ Frankie, who is very quickly thwarted there by Prez. Now, this is the site, and the fact that they're trying to force straight into the site might not be the smartest idea. Dirty takes down Pluto as well. We do hear Yings coming from Helix, but straight into the waiting eyes of his teammate Tiltek, who is continuously blinded as he runs down Astro's stairs. But the entry now from Helix, he's been shot from multiple angles. Prez is there for one, Fakers for another. Dirty to finish it out. A flawless round from Not Quite Sure to answer back the many rounds that Kraken have had up. Match point now for Not Quite Sure and Spud. I mean, this could be a quick 2-0, but Kraken still have the opportunity to make this overtime.
Yeah, after all that has gone down, Kraken are still only a single point behind Not Quite Sure. They've shown us that they have the potential to make this work. So, you know, I would like to see them take this all the way to overtime. Not Quite Sure, though, I think they've had quite enough, and certainly they've managed to figure out Kraken's weaknesses. They've got those crossfires set up. We saw that there on the Astro stairs. They had one at Zulu, they had one at that wolf statue at the rotate as well, and then you might be able to shoot at one person, but you can't shoot 2 people at the same time. Even with the Maru coming up, it just was not enough to, you know, get past that single group, you know, single point of entry, the Astro stairs.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, Spud. I don't know what the game. Again, I've got no clue what the game plan from Kraken has been in any of these rounds, but it has just been force somewhere, and that's all it's been. That round, it was just, guys, let's all run up Astro, let's see what we can do. Tiltek was completely blinded by his own teammate for half the round. I mean, it's an interesting strategy. Pluto switched over to the shotgun on him. I mean, it's really just anything goes at this point, Spud, I think, and they're just sending it now.
Huh. I mean, there's no traps. There's a frost at least, but hey, a Capcan mine. Oh no, that's gotta hurt. What a shot.
A bomb has been located.
Prez. Sharp. Karma takes down Helix, and I mean, Monty is inside of the site, but despite at this point, I don't know if that's going to be enough. Some big damage onto the Monty there himself. NZ Frankie almost taken out of the equation very quickly. down onto Prez, another one from Karma. I mean, it's just not looking good at all. Pluto now almost dead as well. We'll confirm his kill. But, I mean, Tiltex called GG's in the chat. NZ Frankie goes down. It's all up to the Amaru of Pluto. And I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that, yeah, there you go. The Frost map from Prez is a lot closer out. Not quite sure. They're going to come back and win it. 6 in a row. Comfortably, Spud, comfortably to walk away with that victory. And I mean, look, no better time than the present, and they finally make it happen.
Hey, look, one thing's for sure, Kraken definitely gave us a really good show. They gave us the weird, the wonderful, the unexpected, and it did catch Not Quite Sure off guard. So, hey, props to them for making that work. And it goes to show how, you know, bringing unconventional and interesting novel ways can actually catch your opponent off guard. Ultimately, though, the fundamentals being played by Not Quite Sure, especially after that round, that half switch, took the better of Kraken, and they were able to hold on to that match, take it 2-0. Well-deserved victory for Not Quite Sure.
Look, that game was a chuckle spot, I will say. NZ Frankie, I mean, just sitting under this edge. I knew it was going to happen too. And they lose the round to Chef Jeff of all people. I mean, I don't know how he gets away with that. I really don't. But it's just, this is not what I would have expected in that match. And look, I know we joked about it. I know we had a lot of laughs, and I know that overall maybe wasn't the most conventional game of Siege, Spud, but it was an interesting one to say the least. We had an absolute banger on that map. Villa was good, but I do have to highlight Kraken were on a little bit of a hot streak at the beginning of that. I don't know what went wrong in the second half, but that tack time out for Not Quite Sure definitely came in handy.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes to show how important kind of keeping that mental state is. I mean, for Kraken to be able to reset that mental state just by bringing a bunch of shotguns is really big. And then, of course, Not Quite Sure were then in that position where they needed to find some way to kind of reset their game, and they were able to find that with that tack timeout and, of course, a round switch as well. So ultimately, really well done for both teams for keeping themselves in the game. And it goes to show why these teams play at the level they do, why they are top tier teams. It's because they're able to keep their mind in the game.
Yeah, look, mind in the game. I personally would just not have been able to deal with something like that. I mean, I genuinely don't know how Not Quite Sure I've managed to do it. Actually, no, I have a very good idea of how they did it. They're the best in LPL Pro, or at least that's why they are at the top of the leaderboard. You can't really say too much when the stats are backing it. Overall, there's a reason, but there is a genuine reason. Kraken, though, I do have to say, if anyone wants to know what Not Quite Sure's weakness is, it's sort of just throw a spanner in a set of gears and see what happens. So, look, at the end of the day, if it works, it works. You can't say too much, and they were very close to winning that one. But overall, a great first matchup for our set of our games tonight, Spud. We will head to a very short break, but then when we come back from that, we're going to be straight on into the next game. UG taking on their opponents. This is going to be a banger. Team 7, don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
Vano, that guy's NJ here, and I am here at the Sky Tower in Tahamaki Makoto to check out the new Sky Slide, which is just opened. Let's go check it out. This is their brand new virtual reality experience based up on their main observation deck. It's a crazy ride, offering 360-degree views of Auckland at up to 100 kilometers per hour. The motion platform imitates the 3D rendered open air slides, twists and turns above the skies of Tahamaki Makoto. Counting down, punch it, let me at him. Hey! Free air, whoa! Whoever's done the render for this has done like an incredible job. Whoa! It's also really comfortable, like the motion platform's super nice. It's actually really selling all of these like different twists and turns. Another free fall, whoa! Whoa! We're heading home, boys, we're heading home. Whew. So it's $40 for the experience, which includes viewing platform access, or it's just $15 on top of your tower ticket. And it's for ages 8 and up.
Spud, we are back from our short break here. First game down for the night, a swift I wouldn't say swift in that second game, but a 2-0 victory, not quite sure. Nonetheless, Kraken putting up a good fight, if that's what you want to call it, in that second game. But regardless, not quite sure, a great victory. We now cast our eyes forward to game number 2 of the night to see who will put themselves in that second top spot for our grand final. UG taking on Team 7. Spud, what are we thinking coming into this? Obviously, Team 7 probably the favourites, but UG a little bit of an underdog in this story.
Yeah, look, they may not have the flashiest players, but when you put them all together, the sum is greater than the parts. And I think UG definitely are still in the running here. And you have to remember, they've taken on Team 7 before, and they managed to beat them on Clubhouse as well. So they've actually got a precedent here that they can play with the big dogs and take them out as well. So certainly, I do expect this to be, once again, something that could go to a 2-1 victory, not so much a 2-0, I think.
Look, Underground Gaming, a team that throughout LPL Pro, I mean, this season and the previous, have had a relatively hot run for themselves. MML, Zuve, Eraser, JPK, and Harry M, obviously, have made somewhat of a name for themselves in this scene specifically, LPL Pro, that is. But outside of that, largely not too much competitive experience, but they came in through the quals. They had a great first season, finishing somewhere in the top 4, I believe, and then ultimately have now found themselves luckily in the top 4 after their victory against F2 last week. So coming into this, definitely not going to be the favourites, but definitely a team that we need to keep our eyes on, Spud.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it so many times. They're a very consistent team who can take down teams that they shouldn't, on paper, they shouldn't be able to beat. But here we are. They have made it all the way to the playoffs. They've beaten Kraken. They've taken down Team 7 as well. So, hey, anything goes at this point.
Yeah, it really does, but they're going to have a pretty difficult game tonight. Team 7, one of our top teams, I believe actually finishing second, if I'm not mistaken, or third, just below Kraken, regardless of that. Above UG, we'll put it like that. Campo, Phoenix, Sealy, Hunter, and Saber, names that have got that outside experience. These guys have played outside of LPL Pro in those other Tier 2, even some, all the way up as high as Tier 1 levels of competitive Rainbow Six in OCE. So, I mean, just the experience that this roster has and the names that this roster has just step up above from UG. However, by no means we count them out, but Team 7 definitely the favourites for this one.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some former Kraken players as well. Again, this is another Kraken Academy roster. I wouldn't say Academy, but another one of Kraken's list of substitute players. So Kraken really, despite their previous loss, have got 3 teams in the playoffs, if you want to be completely honest. So they're still here. But yeah, again, Team 7, as you mentioned, very, very strong team. They were second last season overall. So, yeah, they've taken 2 losses so far. They have lost to Underground as well before, but they've been able to fight back from unfavorable positions. Last week they took down Not Quite Sure, and they were losing 6-2. Right, they were 4 rounds behind, and they managed to ultimately take that win 8-7. So, Team 7, very, very good team.
Indeed, they are. And the head-to-head for this matchup brought to us by Biocode Lab. We head into it, Spud. 2 players from both of these rosters that are of name to us. And everyone at home, I'm sure, can agree. MML and Phoenix. I mean, MML, great. You put him on pretty much anything, you'll get the job done. Phoenix, though, from Team 7. This guy is a buck of all trades. You can put him on a Roma. You can put it on an entry fragger. He can change between... this guy... I'm telling you, one to watch. Same as MML. Does the same thing, but for Underground, a different coloured jersey, if you will. But yes, 2 very insane players, both of which we need to keep a close eye on in tonight's matchup, because the finals are up for grabs, or at least a spot in them. So both teams best be bringing their A game tonight.
Yeah, Phoenix, one of the aforementioned ex-Kraken players. Sorry, he's got that experience rolling with the big dogs as well. But MML, again, even though the experience is mainly from LPL Pro here, he's shown that he can still take the fight to these big teams. And certainly, I wouldn't count him down against Phoenix in that head-to-head. Again, very, very versatile player who does make a lot of work happen for Underground.
Indeed, a lot of work. I mean, even behind the scenes as well, I can imagine, organising things, setting things up. They've got Lumi behind the scenes. We don't see him here tonight. Look, if Lumi was in the roster, I would have to say it was UG probably walking away with the victory, but he's not here. So it does open the door for Team 7 a little bit, but so does the map veto, Spud. We cast our eyes to the 3 maps we get to see, possible 3 maps we get to see for this matchup. Largely somewhat similar to what we just saw. However, Club, Border, and Villa, regardless, we will get to see the Border, even if it is a 2-0. So I guess we get to enjoy that. But a repeat of Club and a possible repeat of Villa on the cards. I mean, that's largely what I was expecting, to be honest, given that this is a shot for the finals. You want to be playing those maps that you're comfortable with, and all of these maps scream comfort on pretty much all levels for both of these teams.
Yeah, for Underground, this is the map. Clubhouse is their map pick, and this is the map where they were able to take down Team 7. It was a 7-5 victory to Underground, and I've got written down here that it was a 5 rounds in a row on attack for their first half. They were actually up 5-1. So granted, yes, Team 7 did manage to get those points back, and as we've said, Team 7 quite capable of fighting from those unfavorable positions. But ultimately, Underground are very, very strong on this map. This is something that we definitely know here. And Team 7 have to make sure they don't get a repeat, because they do not want to be giving Underground any more room to maneuver here.
Yeah, look, Underground are a team that we've seen struggle with the opening moments before, but look, we look to open up the game. We are going to head right on in to our first map of this best of 3 series Spud Clubhouse. Hopefully for UG Dubhouse tonight, but I'm somewhat skeptic. I'm a UG skeptic tonight. Going up against Team 7, yes, they've beat them before, but at that point in time, we do have to keep in mind, Spud, they were already locked in for playoffs. UG were not. They've made it in. They're here to fight for one of those top spots. So, look, finishing here or going on to the finals is the difference between a lot of money. And for UG, obviously, that's going to be a very large deciding factor. However, we start off, as always, with the bans. Underground get the better side of the two. They get to start on the defense, but do you think this is going to help them at all?
Interestingly enough, last time they were able to succeed so well, it was actually on the attack. And they suffered 4 rounds as well on the other way around when they started on the defense. So Team 7 might have actually gotten themselves, the better half here. I do note that being Underground's map pick, Team 7 picked the side. So I think they've kind of leaned into that. They've gone all the way and they've said, let's just take those attacking rounds right off the bat. Team 7 have taken off Habana away from Underground. Underground choosing to go with the stock standard Thatcher. And Kaid next to follow up.
Yeah, no real surprise for Clubhouse. I mean, Habana maybe... Well, actually, Habana definitely a very good band. Thatcher as well. Cade to follow. And then finally, probably going to be, yep, I was going to say the Mirror or the Valkyrie, but there you go. It's the Mirror. It disappears. Now, just before we get into this game, do not forget, ladies and gentlemen, the Twitter giveaway going on right now at LPL_R6S on Twitter using the hashtag LPLPro. Who do you think is going to make it to the finals and why? Get your submissions in now before the end of the evening for your chance to win that LPL prize pack, kindly provided to the people from LPL. We do have to say thank you to them. But we head forward here on Clubhouse for round number 1. Team 7 on the attack, Underground on the defense. They got the better end of the card, Spud, but is that going to be enough? I don't think it is, but I mean, history is to repeat itself. It's a UG victory here, and I think that would be a massive upset going into the finals because I don't think people expected UG to be here, if we're being completely honest, given what the top 4 was before we came into playoffs.
Yeah, certainly they fought very, very hard to make it this far, and I don't expect them to give up anytime soon. Now, you might be thinking, okay, UG have gone for a map they've already won. They might be resting on their laurels a little too much, but I don't think they've been lazy. Certainly from what we've seen, they are very, very diligent with their preparation and counter strats. I think they will have learned from that victory on Clubhouse. If anything, if they do win, it will be more convincing than that previous 7-5 victory. Saber, first to fall, Harry M opens things up with a nice headshot.
Well, there you go. That is a big kill. Harry M, the one to find it, surprisingly up in blue. It's the same thing we saw from the Jaeger in that last matchup. It's the same position. It's the same thing. I mean, a free kill to open a round. They're sending another player now down towards Swamp. Will Harry find a second? A big question, but I mean, the more that he can find here, the better, right? I mean, he's got no trades, and there you go. He's just going to disappear. He doesn't need to stick around. Thanks for the kill. Saber down. That's a Zofia gone for no trade. That's big for UG.
Mind you, there is still this upstairs presence, and we saw the castle barricades come down for that SSG-style roam. 3 players, in fact, holding upstairs. So even though, Harry M has fallen back, that by no means gives Team 7 any kind of significant map control. Silly will have a fine JPK, a great refrag there, much needed one as well. And we'll be able to get some information for his troubles as well. That will hopefully help pin down a Razor on this roam, because if they're not careful with the time here, it could really threaten to sap all the energy and time of Team 7.
Yeah, indeed. JPK, look, losing him on the alibi, it's not the biggest loss in the world, but it's a great gun in the hands of a great player. That's ultimately something large, but, Phoenix, that was a bit rough, but Zuve falls, I guess it works. I guess it works, but that was a little bit too close for comfort. Definitely some clenched cheeks there, Spud, during that gunfight. But it's the first round. I can't really blame them too much for maybe having a little bit of the jitters, because this is the playoffs for that final spot. There's a lot riding on this.
Yeah, both players did seem to miss their shots, but ultimately Phoenix came out on top of that. But Underground still putting up a fight here and able to, deny some of the hatch at least. Sealy, however, does finally find Harry and punishes him for that earlier attack on his teammate. 2 now coming down dirt with, I assume, I'm going to hope another hatch opened, but at least it's a 2v4, which means player count firmly in favor of Team 7. The 2v3 now, but Campo finds one. Phoenix to clean it up. Team 7 get their first round.
Yeah, Campo goes down and it goes down dirt, finds a kill. Phoenix for 2 in the round. Now, last time we saw Phoenix play, it took him, well, I mean, if you remember correctly, Spud, the first half that he played, not really too much from him. Second half, he exploded. I mean, what, 14 kills in the space of like 5 rounds or something crazy like that, with a victory for Team 7 to follow. You do have to give him that. So good to see that he's off the bat this game, or at least he's attempting to be. I mean, 2 kills in the first round is pretty good, especially on the Ash. Sealy fought to himself as well, and overall a solid round from Team 7. Now, for UG, they had great momentum from Harry there. I mean, he built that up for them in the first, 30 seconds, not even 20. But then it was just fumbled by everyone else. Now, I'm not too sure why UG is still trying to run SSG-style roams on current meta Clubhouse. It's not something you see most teams sort of default to, with like the heavy fall into the castle inside of bar, the heavy fall into that sort of multi-tiered defense. You do see people roaming on that top floor and that middle floor, but with specific dedicated utility is not something you often see. So UG maybe a little bit behind on the strat book here, but it was close. Team 7 though, gun skill comes out and prevails at the end of the day.
Yeah, Team 7 with that Ash were able to slice open those castle barricades and then slice the defense in half. It meant that they couldn't fall back from that top floor. And then, of course, that player, Zuve, in the bar was also isolated. And I think that was another weakness there of that particular defense. There wasn't really much going in terms of refrags. Whereas when we looked at how Team 7 pushed 2 into, even though 1 fell straight away, there was a trade straight away to make sure they were still able to take that map control.
Yeah, indeed. Now with Campo being taken out, okay, hang on, now taken out by JPK. Took him a little bit, but he got it done. Managed to make it happen, and will get away with his life. You do have to take that as it comes. Phoenix as well now to fall. JPK for 2. Phoenix did get 1 before being felled, but at this point, it's a lot lost. Saber now looking to rectify the issue, to take that trade back, but at this point, Team 7, they're down with 2. That's their hard breach, or at least one of them gone. And with that wall, I don't know yet to be opened up. Hunter out of position as well now, having to come over and help with MML taking down Saber. Things are not looking good here for Team 7 in this second round.
Oh, a C4 as well from MML, a second to follow up, and suddenly the tables have turned. It's all up to Hunter all by himself. I don't think Underground are too keen on giving anything away. It's really, really well played. That cash hold was perfect. MML especially was the key player there. Although, of course, JPK was up in the cache area itself, he would have been pinched out very, very soon if it wasn't for MML on that flank with the SMG-11 and the C4 to provide that support. And make sure now that it's a 1v4, and they still need to take cache.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask, especially with everyone from UG converging on the position. JPK for 3 in the round, a good round from him, and overall UG, a solid round from them. It was, yeah, look, JPK, at least he knows it, and at least he's going to address it before we were about to. But look, 3 kills, it doesn't matter if you miss those 15 shots. You could have missed 100. You still got those 3 kills in that round. You do still have to give a little bit of a clap there, because single-handedly, that's a great effort in a round for anyone to achieve. And for UG, it's a round on the board. At the end of the day, that is everything, especially against a team like Team 7, because when they start building up that momentum, it's a pretty hard train to stop, Spud. I mean, we talked about the experience. We talked about just everything that these guys hold, even just as a list of players. I mean, you put these guys together as a 5-stack in ranked, and you're 9 times out of 10 not going to win that matchup. So for UG to come out and find early rounds is going to be big. In the past, we've seen them struggle with it. You know, we've talked about it before. UG struggle to get fired up in the opening moments of a game. Whereas when it comes to the second half, the mid to late game, by that time, they've made good changes and they start finding that momentum. But I think we've only ever seen them do it from the start once. If this could be the second time and then they close it out in the first map, sending them onto a good second, it could be huge. But Team 7, I mean, the money is still with them, I think, for most people.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, the time that we saw Underground have a really good start was against Team 7 on Clubhouse. Now, that was on attack. So if Underground can have a really good start here and then go on to their, quoted more favorable side, then perhaps Underground could actually take this away from Team 7. That would be huge, as a repeat of their Clubhouse performance would be a good way to go for Underground, and certainly a real confidence booster.
Definitely would have to be somewhat of a confidence booster, Spud, but Team 7 have definitely kicked it up a bit here. They are playing super quick into this upstairs roam clear. Sealy on this top main cross, and they've got Phoenix following the drones, paired with Sabre as well. I mean, the speed and efficiency that Team 7 have currently achieved in this top floor clear at the moment has been absolutely impeccable, but Underground, they're not playing into it. You know, they've got no one situated close by, maybe on the second floor looking for a flank here or there, but other than that, Team 7 relatively freely are in the building.
Yeah, I think they realized the weakness of their earlier SSG roam, and they decided to go with the opposite, and that's just kind of hold on to the site. Whereas for Team 7, they still need to dedicate that time to clear out the positioning. So, maybe a mute jammer here or there, and it wouldn't really seal the deal here. Having said that, though, it's still fairly good time on either side. Team 7, a minute and a half the round, they're starting to work the site. Whereas for Underground, they've taken out half the round without having even to be upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they weren't roaming around is pretty big for them. I mean, a lot of time wasted, but a lot of time spent from Team 7 to not really have anything to show for it. I mean, they've got no kills. They've got no damage even. I mean, they've opened up some hatches, yeah. Dirt as well, cool. But Sealy now is the first to seal the fate, unintended. Harry M goes down.
Oh, Razor almost gets his head taken off, but Phoenix just misses that shot. Looking for a follow-up here, and he's actually going to re-peek that. Unfortunately, Razor does finish the job here. Second kill now. And that Arsenal side looks almost empty of defenders.
It does. MML does take down Sabre, so at least they get one trade for the two bodies lost. But at this point, it's going to be difficult, especially with Zuve in a position like that. He's good for one. Hasn't been taken out by the second. Hunter does fall. He gets a second. There you go. He does take out Campo as well here. And MML on this flank, he manages to find Sealy too. Phoenix. Now the last alive, he drops into blue, takes down the AK's player, flicks towards the black box, doesn't find the headshot onto JPK, who is actively pushing for this kill. Phoenix makes his way into the side. He doesn't have the diffuser here. Does have to go for kills almost on the headshot on the fadeaway, but it's MML from the hatch to lock it down for UG. They go up 2 rounds. Team 7, unfortunately, left stranded.
Yeah, there we have it. The flank coming out was the nail that sealed the coffin. Team 7 were already struggling a little bit. They had kind of cleared out that Arsenal area, except for that AK player, and Zuve was able to make the most of that position. But then with that flank, that was when it fell apart. They could no longer pressure the AK player. They had to pressure from dirt. And ultimately, Zuve was able to stay there and hold his ground until Phoenix, did the unthinkable and just hot dropped the hatch. So, yeah, the flank was what sealed the deal, really made things work for Underground there. And as you mentioned, I think they've been doing their homework here.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, this is the map that they've already won on, right? Like, historically, UG have already won this game. So for Team 7, it's going to be, have they done their homework, given that they didn't win in the last time that these two teams first. Now, Azami on the board is going to make this garage take slightly difficult.
5 seconds remaining.
But with plenty of util in time, and they've got Blind, they've got the nades from Sabre as well. Loads of flashbangs. This should be relatively doable. But if Zuve plays his cards right... Wait. No Jaeger? No ADS? No Omai? This is going to be a lot easier than maybe they would have originally assumed, but...
that seems to be an oversight.
Interesting.
Not sure how long he intends on sticking there. Maybe he's just going to throw some barriers up and then dip and force that utility to be burned. That could be a strategy here, but no, he's got a lot of setup here, so just relying on not being there isn't the best strategy, as much as Mr. Miyagi might say it is. This wall being opened up as... Oh, no. Does actually catch the first charge, so successful bandit trick here denies a little bit more utility. Look,
the wall opens up regardless, so I guess I guess it works out in the end. But in saying that, Spud, utility is utility. At the end of the day, it might all matter. They might need it, but Phoenix, oh, he's so sharp. MML. Through the smoke, through the fire and the flames, he's taken out of the equation there. Now, Phoenix is definitely on a heater. 6-2 in this match, Spud. He's looking for more. He wants more. He's hungry for these kills, but that's a great opening pick to find, and provided they can keep it up, I mean, this could be a quick round here for Team 7.
Yeah, MML was so instrumental last round, and being able to remove him off the board is really, really big. As well, you have to consider that Rough Displayers has no grenade denial to protect him as well, so that's maybe a second free kill. So you're looking at potentially a 3v5 already. So, oh, that could have been a single kill. That's a bit unfortunate.
Sure. I mean, get rid of the utility. I honestly, I rate that over going for the kill. JPK takes down Campo. Phoenix does trade onto a Razor now. His position largely known, given that he did just sort of play for that trade. Sealy could go for the walk-in here. I don't think he has to worry about Garage at all. Harry M is going to be the next issue as the flashbangs do begin to come. We do see that player inside of Garage still. Zuve has a good position, but it's Phoenix. Again, his name keeps popping up in this kill feed. The rush towards red, 2 players chasing JPK and Harry M away from the equation. Just absolutely sending it Phoenix down a hole. Hunter getting the diffuser down. We're in the post play on a 2 versus 4 here. It's going to be largely difficult, and they're not even going to get a chance. Phoenix for 3 in the round. Team 7 are an absolute cakewalk, and UG have to just give the side up. At that point, you can't really blame them.
There's very, very aggressive push through that condor. They sent, I think, 2 players, maybe even 3, all the way, and we saw them just push, just the physical force. They just pushed UG out of the way. They knew they couldn't take that fight, and maybe they should have. Maybe that would have been a better option there, but Team 7 also played it very, very smart. They hit the lion scan. Once they took the top red position, they didn't force it. They didn't push any further and risk losing that player for the flank watch. They just sat there, waited for Underground to push while the plant went down. And ultimately, it went perfectly in their favor. Underground weren't able to retake the site, and Team 7 able to bring it back to a 2-2.
Look, it's better than a 1-2, and it's better than an 0-2. So there's that, Spud. And at the moment, it's almost better than their last match. Provided they can close it out quicker than a 7-5, it'll be an improvement on both people's counterparts. If UG finish this at a 7-3, then, you know, it's an improvement, Spud. That's ultimately what these teams are gunning for at the end of the day. Improvements. Upgrades, people. But, obviously, whether or not they achieve that, we could very well be in for a 7-5, maybe even overtime. But it's going to come down to who's done the more homework and the better practicing for this matchup.
Yeah, we do. I remember speaking to Team 7 and they say, oh, we just like to have fun. We just go in there and play. So perhaps Underground may be on the more prepared side. But this is playoffs. Maybe things have changed for Team 7. And certainly they're not doing too bad as well. They're 2-2 at the moment. Although there have been moments where it's faltered, and Underground certainly have been playing excellently as well.
They've been playing excellently. Harry M now taking out the equation first again. Not getting as lucky as he was in that first round. That might be because the members of Team 7 have cottoned on to his strategies. MML now to be down and confirmed by Sabre as well. These are great kills, but paired with the Lion Scan, another kill for Sabre. A one-tap trade, I believe, on both ends. The Jaeger traded out for that Yana. It now all falls onto a Razor and JPK. He found 3 the last time he was in this position. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that again unless he can at least find 2 before he has to leave here. But with the pressure coming towards him, that being Phoenix, he's hungry for these kills. He can smell them. He's got perfect information to play off as well. He's getting bombarded from every aspect. Sealy's there to lock it down. Team 7 take the lead, and UG are now put in the position of doubt.
Phoenix just went zoom there. JPK was holding it, waiting for perhaps a fast swing, but Phoenix just said, no, watch this, and just absolutely dunks on him. There was no holding back Phoenix, and for good reason, he is why we looked at him in that head-to-head highlight. His efforts, of course, do bring Team 7 up another round and up into 3-2, but it's not just Phoenix. There's so much support. You saw the excellent drone work come out behind him. Of course, the line has been working really, really well at locking down these underground players, making sure they can't move just so the Phoenix can just go straight in and take their heads off.
Phoenix, in the words of a very prestigious gentleman, Lunchbox, Phoenix is sort of okay at this game. You could maybe say that, Spud. He's sort of all right, I suppose, if you had to maybe put a word to it. You know, he's mediocre. But 10-2 is definitely something to boast about him. And a 5.0 KD in 5 rounds, it's essentially 2 kills a round. And he's just keeping like the momentum. This guy, he's just running at people. He knows where they are, but that's the difference. Team 7 are playing off that info. They're playing off that aggressive spark that they've got and can utilize between rounds. And you put Phoenix like that in the driving seat with that information, with a gun like the R4C, I mean, it's just free kills at that point.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of utility denial, information denial might be what Underground needs. MMR bringing them Mute might be able to play a part in that. He'll be able to stop some of these Yana clones, save some players from being scanned at least, and definitely stop the drones as well, which has been so instrumental in the attacks that Team 7 have been able to bring to bear. This will be, of course, their last attempt to make that happen. This is their last defending half before they go onto the attack. Will Phoenix be able to have the same results on attack? That is the next question.
A very strong feeling he's just going to repeat that same sort of thing we've seen for him on attack on defense, you know. But I guess we'll find out next round. But after this one concludes, hoping that UG can find a third for their sake. Now, Zube does spot the head of Phoenix, albeit cannot connect. Now, Phoenix doesn't commit quite just yet to the angle, doesn't know that he can, does make it away, but no, Phoenix, he swings on out. The support's not there, he gets 2, MML. What are you doing, buddy? You're not playing the game the right way, especially when Phoenix is around. He's just walking into the crosshairs. He was just, I don't know what the reposition call was there to play for that trade, but it just did not work. The nitro comes out, it doesn't connect, and UG are really trying to pull at any string they have left for a freebie here, because if they don't, they're just going to keep it coming. Phoenix is good for his third, make it 4. My God, he's so good. Saber takes the ace, but it doesn't matter at this point. Team 7 have got the lead quite comfortably going into the second half, and Phoenix, someone check that guy's PC, because he is on an absolute tirade. He doesn't want to mess around. The tack pause has been called by UG, and I think that's fair enough, because right now, I mean, my God, I would be actively looking for ways to shut Phoenix down single-handedly, because if they don't, this is going to be a pretty quick affair.
Yeah, I was just writing down the score, and I almost just wrote Phoenix instead of Team 7, because that's what it feels like at this point. It's just Phoenix getting all the kills, and everyone else is just kind of following him. It's like the mother duck and all the little ducklings. Like, yeah, cool. I'm carrying the lunchbox as I was walking the site, and it's press F. So, yeah, Underground need to find some way to throw spanner in the works. They need to stop Phoenix from being so enabled to do whatever he wants. Now, the information denial, it didn't work. They weren't able to slow him down, well, it seems, at all that previous round. So now, on the attack with the Osa shields, they might be able to at least to get that information about the players in their positions and have some protection to wait for a better moment to go for those gunfights.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Oh, look, Spud. It's this is shaping up to be another interesting one, provided a lot of outcomes, right? People on UG, namely Eraser and Harry M, need to stop dying first. That would be a big one. Harry had that great moment in that first round, and that's pretty much been it. that has literally been it from him. Now,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. He's just been shut down on so many occasions. Same with the Razor, right? He has not had that lucky sort of get-go. MML's been doing pretty well for himself. I mean, 6-4, you know, you got to give him that. He was our highlighted player, and it's good to see him keeping up to that level. But the rest of UG need to start firing on all cylinders, because right now it's 3 of them doing pretty much everything, and that's it, Spud. I mean, realistically, that is it. Team 7 have got Phoenix, yeah, but that's a different story.
And of course, the rest of Team 7 still.
He's so good. See you later, JPK.
He's just like, I don't know. He's just running around and just pressing mouse 1. Like, it's chaotic.
So
there's no rhyme or reason. He's just looking for kills. He's on the hunt. He's not even a methodical serial killer. He just kills whenever he can.
No, like, guys,
gonna kill him.
He is. Harry, what do you do at that point? Go and find yourself a chair and sit yourself down, because Phoenix is 16. He's typing. Oh, or is he clipping? I don't know what he's doing. He's doing something. He's got AFK to go and grab a drink. He's back. He's on his tirade. He's looking for more. He can smell more. I've got a very strong feeling we get a Phoenix ace in this game if I had to put my money on something. But like,
no.
Zuve's just on drone. Has he spotted him?
He did.
Does he know he's there? He did. He has to know he's there. There you go. Pre-fire, lines it up through the wall. Thank you very much. Phoenix down. But now can they do the rest of the round without him? There you go. MML finds one too. This is big here. This is what Eugene needed.
Yeah, I was just commenting before that the rest of Team 7 also very, very capable players. The only reason why perhaps they haven't shown up so much is because, you know, Phoenix has killed everyone before they get there. But with Phoenix off the board and Zuve finding a second as well, this is looking a lot more doable. You do have to consider the kind of mental effect, the time it's taken. They've got a minute now to work on the site, but at least they've still got a razor. They've got the buff to work that vertical. If they can find another pick, or maybe even two, that would really seal the deal.
Look, in Team 7, they're playing this perfectly. They don't need to over-aggress. They've got a Nitro on Sealy to play with. They've got that impact from Campo as well to deny some form of entry. But most importantly, they still have Hunter alive on the smoke. And he is just one of the most proficient smokes in this league. Now, the impact trick from Campo there is going to make things difficult. They do still have one of those hard breach charges left in the hands of a Razor. He is doing a lot of that soft destruction upstairs, though, meaning that unfortunately, he's going to spend about 15 seconds until he can get that second charge down. The first smoke from Hunter does come out, but this is perfect. 30 seconds with 3 smokes is ideal in this situation. They'll ask for 15 seconds each or something along the lines of. So he can deny for so long, but Sealy, even just in this position alone, can shut down so much. Campo now rotating over to help. He spots the head of MML. The call's being given. He rotates into blue, but Razor's there. He comes down the stairs to shut it down. Sealy's good for one. Spotting the player in dirt makes this whole lot harder, but Sealy's almost going to find all 3 himself. The SMG-11 in his hands. It doesn't matter if Zuve kills him, because on the time alone, Team 7 are going to walk away with it. UG, they were close. It was a good round. It was a good execute, but it wasn't enough.
Look, the damage by that point had already been done by Phoenix. The time had been wasted, and the utility was still in play for Team 7. We saw that impact trick. They got one of the charges, 1 out of 2, but it was able to stall it enough that by that 30-second mark, those 3 smoke canisters came into play. That line of entry was cut off, and so they were forced to go through blue and that church door. Very, very well played from Team 7. The aggression, first of all, and then they just dialed it back. They just waited. They played that time. And ultimately, time was what won them the round. But you could argue that, you know, the foundations of that round were set in stone very, very early on, with Phoenix just running around.
And it works. It works so well, man. There isn't... It's... Genuinely, it is a mechanics check difference, right? He is that good that he just cannot be. I mean, what, 3 kills, 4 kills? The amount of multi-kills in this game alone that he's had, I mean, is just insane when you think about it. But they move over onto the defense. You know, they've been doing relatively decent. Phoenix straight away has been having a great round, but MML doesn't even know where he's getting shot from. That's how different this match is right now. He's got no clue, and he's gonna be able to reinforce the wall. I mean, Spud, at this point, what's going on? It's similar to what Kraken are doing, except there is method to this madness, and that is just let Phoenix shoot everybody.
I would have thought Phoenix would have gone for that, and he probably would have won it, but hey, I mean, there is probably a time and place.
Ocean Shield makes it hard.
Time. Right. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Ocean Shield does make that kind of hard, Spud.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains why he didn't peek it, because I would have expected him to peek it.
Yes, I would have expected that as well, but look, regardless of that, Phoenix is on a tear, and that's all she needs to say. Oh, Sealy, come on. Oh, that's a shame. That is unfortunate. But
that's awkward.
It happens to the best of us, right? It had to happen at some point. I've just been informed that we're getting a highlight of that, ladies and gentlemen. So, Sealy, mate, I do have to send that one to you. I'm very, very sorry, but look, it happens, and I will reiterate once more, it happens to the best of us. So, yeah, hold that.
That does actually make it onto the board, but taken out by a very, very well-placed grenade from below. So Underground put themselves up back in terms of player advantage, but of course with Phoenix still around, that could all go away at a moment's notice. I wouldn't count too much on it. Campo finds another. Harry M just not having a good game. There we go. MML is down. Yeah, Phoenix still around, so I think we can still chalk it up to Team 7.
Yeah, look, if he's good for any more, which I can guarantee he probably is, yeah, MML's got it right. He's very sharp. But so is Zuve, apparently. Hitting some well-needed shots. At least they know that Phoenix is sharp. Red Bull. Oh, look, I don't even blame him at that point, right? Like, he's got a good point. Oh, that was so close to the one tap through the barricade. A 2v2 is doable. You've got Sabre on the flank, which you do need to worry about. Zuve now droning out the site, does know that it's relatively clear, will spot the barrel of the one inside of Con and will choose to push on through. But from the window inside of Suicide, Sabre's taken down. JPK now holds a big positional advantage here on these windows, but Zuve has to change the plant point. Sabre is out of the situation. Campo, the last alive, is going to get aggressive. He will find the down onto Zuve. JPK, what are you doing? What game are you playing? He's in a different universe. Campo just needs to walk away, and indeed he will, straight down the main stairs. Plenty of time to play with. Doesn't even have to get aggressive. He just runs away. Thanks for coming. Sabre doesn't even get confirmed in Team 7. It's another round for them. UG. Don't know what that type of cover was, but maybe JPK didn't know he downed the Jaeger. I'm not too sure what happened there, but big misplay there from UG, and already we're on match point for Team 7. This is a quick one.
Yeah, I really would have expected this to go further, given how well Underground have been able to read into their players, their opponent's strategies, adapt and change to that. But it just seems that Team 7, especially Phoenix, are just sharper. They're just better than that today. And I mean, yeah, going back to that last point, I was so confused. I thought that would have been an easy plant. It's a 2v1, you've got the cover from the window. But of course, it makes sense. If he didn't know that Jaeger was down, he would have had to be watching his back, and that would have meant Campo was free to just walk up to the planter. Still could have gone a 50-50. I mean, could have won on that. Zuve did get off the plant, right? And he could have won
had to
gunfight, but Campo ultimately took the win.
I mean, 20 health doesn't help. Zuve was extremely low, and that's because Phoenix almost took him out. So, look, you do have to give credit where credit's due. Zuve tried, and that's all he's been doing this whole game. You know, he's been trying. But, again, the highlight, you know, Harry M and Eraser just not really having the best game at all. Yet to really have an effect. I mean, yes, the utility-wise, they've been doing their job perfectly. But other than that, you know, trying to rely on MML, Zuve, and JPK to continuously win these rounds is, well, it's just not working, is it, Spud? I mean, Phoenix is pretty much the exception to that point, but I guess that's a very different ball game that we're talking about, right? Like, Tier 1 experience versus LPL Pro. Very big jump.
And Mel does find one for his troubles, but Phoenix is there soon to greet him. I mean, in terms of utility, it's not much lost either. Jaeger's already done his job. They do need to shut down Phoenix, though. They need to coordinate a pinch onto him to make sure he cannot keep wreaking havoc, because you just watch the way he's playing. He's just running around. He's just free to do whatever he's want. He's not feeling any pressure. And Underground need to at least put some pressure on him, at the very least.
Yeah, pressure at the very least.
How did he get away?
I don't know at this point, but he's alive. That's the one thing they need to be worried about. The fact that he lives is a deal breaker here, Spud. Now, Harry M, he's doing the same thing he did in the last round. He's holding outside this main breach. He's looking for a freebie. JPK will find it, though. Phoenix through the floor. A great vertical grenade. But Sealy does find one. Hunter onto MML, and just like that, Team 7 fly back with 2 of their own and equalize to a 3 versus 3. This is not good if you are Underground.
Yeah, I mean, for all that effort, all the time, all the utility they spent taking out those 2 players, building up the advantage, it was taken away so suddenly. Campo at least does fall, and that opens up your rafters position. But with Hunter and Sealy still both on the board, it's still going to be a tough match. I think, yes, they are rotating over to Garage now, but Hunter on this flank could end things here. Both just miss each other. Sealy, though close, won't be able to find the kill onto Razor. 1v3 now.
Don't know how Sealy managed to lose that one, unfortunately. Close damage there would have been great, but Hunter, he's so sharp. Through the smoke with the SMG-11, he locks down one. Now he could find Zuve here through the smoke, but he opts to change away from the planting position down below with the shotgun. Zuve moves, though, just as he does make it out, and it is going to be a post plant here. However, not spotted. Harry M, what are you doing running away early? Could have cost him his life. He pushes forward. Zuve doesn't get spotted, and he wins the fight. Underground hold on for one more, but unfortunately, Team 7 still lead with 3. Spud, it's a good start, but is it enough?
I mean, even then, even at the very last moment, it still looked very, very possible for Team 7. They might not have had the perfect utility, but they still had the gun skill and just the pure mechanics, as you mentioned, to make things work. Had MML just peaked a little bit, Hunter peaked a little bit over, he might have actually caught Zuve and could have taken him out. If he had a shotgun in hand, absolutely doable. And then you're back to a 1v1. Granted, it was post-plant, and that sort of positioning almost certainly favors the attackers, but still, my point is, it was still really, really close.
It was very close. I mean, we've seen Hunter win those, like, so many times as well. There's just so much that he could have done in that situation in terms of just, I mean, winning it out there would have been the biggest, but ultimately, look, Underground, it's 3 rounds. We've seen him do it before. I mean, Eraser, you look back a couple of weeks ago, Eraser and I believe MML clutching up that 2 versus 4 on downstairs, this exact site, running through blue in the last 20 seconds. They're a team that can do it, Spud. They've shown us they can do it. Now they just actually need to do it.
Basement, of course, they did attempt this site the very first time, and it was a Team 7 victory. And I seem to recall that it was fairly one-sided in favor of Team 7, with Phoenix just being able to run rampant there. So, so Underground need to improve on that previous attack here, because if they let Phoenix just do whatever he wants again, this match is going to be over very, very quickly.
A very quick match indeed, Spud. Sealy, he's taken the alibi away from Phoenix here now. I don't know if that's the smartest choice, but I guess we'll see if it pans out. He may have been spotted here or not. However, 2 people on the main stairs. It doesn't matter. Oh my days. It was probably a literal pixel that he just hit, and MML's been put to sleep. UG, unfortunately not looking the hottest in this first map whatsoever. That is a kill that you do not want to be losing given the position you find yourselves in. And I guess Sealy on the alibi worked out. Phoenix, take a back seat for a second.
Yeah, MML had that much needed kind of fragging power and the frag grenades as well, and losing both of them so early is definitely going to hurt Underground. They're going to struggle clearing out some of these shields as well, and some of these entrenched positions, and especially, as we've said, Eraser, Harry M just not having such great games in terms of kills. MML was one of those few sources of kills, and now not having that, things are going to be really, really difficult.
Yeah, indeed, they will be, Spud. There's a lot that still needs to be done here by UG. I mean, they've got a minute left to achieve it, and they're a very efficient team when it comes to their utility usage and, well, the way that they distribute it throughout the map. But it's a lot to get done in a minute. They're starting with the church wall, rightfully so. That's getting open straight away. No contest whatsoever. A little bit late on the impacts, and unfortunately, those don't even connect there for Sealy. So this wall being completely open does give UG a really nice angle all the way deep into blue here, but it's Phoenix to peek on down. It doesn't matter if the wall's open. He's going to come to party. Zuve falls. Phoenix is on for 20 here. If he can find 2 of the remaining 3, It's going to be a great first game for him, but the nades now start to fly. Phoenix here to greet. Eraser takes a lot of damage. Harry M looking for something. Takes some big damage himself. Phoenix won't get 20. Eraser felled. Campo to trade it back. And very quickly, we come down to a 4v2 in the last 10. The ADS to bite the nade. JPK drops down. He's spotted, but can't do anything. Saber and Sealy lock it out. It's good halves in the chat from everyone involved. Team 7, an easy and very breezy clubhouse. That's a big improvement from last time. By 2 rounds and in their favor, Team 7 walk away from clubhouse with the victory.
Very, very well played and a well-deserved MVP from Phoenix as well. But that last round, I think, just kind of sums up how Team 7 have been playing, and that is they are just all over the place. They're contesting every single point, every single angle they can get, and winning. That is the difference. They're playing so aggressively, but they're winning. They're hitting all their shots, and Underground just seem I don't know what needs to change here, because whatever they're doing, it's just not working.
Yeah, look, I could not tell you the last time we saw this matchup, Spud. It was a 7-5 to UG, specifically to UG. I mean, they had a really solid game, but today was just not the day. Team 7 arguably have just been apparently doing a lot more homework. And overall, we're just collecting the kills. I mean, Phoenix before the split, I believe ending on 13, whatever it was. It was a lot of kills, And Underground, I mean, the minimal amount of times, 5, I believe, 6 at the end where they managed to close him down. 6 out of all the rounds played. I mean, silly. Highlight play there. But, like, the best play in that matchup, hands down. But, yeah, like, I don't know. UG just didn't feel like they were in it to win it at all in that first game. And I'm not too sure what's going on, but something just wasn't quite right for them.
I think that also comes down to how I think Team 7 definitely have taken this a little bit more seriously. I think they've realized that now, hey, we can actually get our hands on the money, $1,200 to be exact. So they've stepped it up a notch. And this homework that UG were relying on, well, Team 7 seem to have done the extra credit assignment, and it's paying off.
Indeed, they have, Sparta. We end at map 1. We look to map number 2. We're going to head to a short break, and then we'll bring it to you after that.
That guy's Energy here, and I am here at the Sky Tower in Taimaki Makoto to check out the new Sky Slide, which is just opened. Let's go check it out. This is their brand new virtual reality experience based up on their main observation deck. It's a crazy ride, offering 360-degree views of Auckland at up to 100 kilometers per hour. The motion platform imitates the 3D rendered open-air slides, twists and turns above the skies of Taimaki Makoto. Counting down. Punch it. Let me at him. Hey! Free air. Whoa! Whoever's done the render for this has done like an incredible job. Whoa! It's also really comfortable, like the motion platform's super nice. It's actually really selling all of these like different twists and turns. Another free fall, whoa! Whoa! We're heading home, boys, we're heading home. Whew. So it's $40 for the experience, which includes viewing platform access, or it's just $15 on top of your tower ticket, and it's for ages 8 and up.
Spud, an absolutely amazing first. I mean, what an outcome. I mean, last time we saw it, it was 7-5 to UG. This time, 7-3 to Team 7. We now head to Border. The third map we didn't get to see in our last matchup. It's the second in this one, so we are definitely going to be watching it. Do we think Team 7 close it out in 2 here, or do we think this goes to overtime?
Look, I'll be honest, based on how well Team 7 have been playing, this is where I would, put my money. I would say that Team 7 are able to take this out on their own map. They had a really good performance against the likes of F2, and I believe they did beat another team on it, if I just double check my notes. Having said that, of course, we saw Not Quite Sure struggle against Kraken in that second half as well. So, hey, it's not completely over for UG. And I think that UG will at least have done some preparation for it.
Yeah, look, this map, Border, is an interesting one, Spud. It's only recently, I say recently, this season has come back into the competitive pool. It has been played a fair bit, but at the same time, you could also argue that it hasn't been played a lot, right? It's a map that used to see a lot of play when it was originally in the competitive pool. Then it was taken out, then it was put back in. I mean, it's a very interesting map, but we have been told that we are starting to have the tweets roll in, and one will now appear at the bottom of the screen from Salvo, the man, the myth. NQS and Kraken ACAD T7 will be in the finals because Chef Jeff is a troll and will throw Team 7 because I said so. That's fair enough. So if you want to copy yourself and get like on the screen like Salvo did, make sure you're at LPL_R6S, hashtag LPL Pro. The question, who do you think is going to be in the finals and why? Salvo obviously thinks it's going to be NQS and Kraken ACAD. So, I mean, high hopes for T7 here from Salvo. We don't want to let him down, boys. So, UG, they're going to be the ones that have the possibility to stop it as we head on in to game number 2 of this possible best of 3 series. Spud, Border. No better map, I would personally argue, than to say it would be a better second map, given that it's the mid game. It's one that maybe not everyone's as comfortable on as maybe they would like, but it definitely plays into the playstyle of Team 7 a whole lot more. It's probably why they picked it. But like, I don't know, UG, again, we saw those momentum issues from them in that last game. They struggled to get things going as we kick things off as the with the bans. I don't know. Do we have much hope for UG coming into this?
I think they'll still be able to get a couple of rounds, and I do think they'll perform better than F2 against Team 7. But as you mentioned, this map very much in Team 7's favor. The kind of aggression that they like to unleash, it is usually attacker-sided. And as we've seen, some very forward positions being held by the defenders, like that break room door, favors the defenders a lot, and they're able to get a lot of kills. So I think Team 7 playing, when they eventually go to defense, will be able to do a lot of damage from it.
Yeah, look, it's this is Osa to go. It's no real surprise. Team 7 didn't like dealing with it on Clubhouse, albeit they dealt with it very well. And let's be honest, it wasn't really doing too much regardless in the hands of Harry M, because he was either dead in the early parts of the round or he was dead. So that was largely what happened to those in that game. But fair enough, especially on this map, she's very prominent. Take her out. Azami as well, Mirror to follow. This is probably the most normal banning phase we've had all night, Spud. And it's good to see that we finally had at least one normal thing happen this evening.
Well, I wouldn't count it out too soon that Underground brings something else out. I mean, given how well, maybe they'll take a page out of Kraken's book and just start throwing shotguns into the mix. Could work, but I feel like they're perhaps a more traditional team. We have seen them play very heavily in that conventional style, of course, with their own kind of mix and strategy, which has served them very well so far. They've made it all the way into the playoffs. Fortunately, they've lost that first map to Team 7, 7-3 on what used to be their victory place. So, Underground now fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, look, it's definitely going to be an interesting one, because UG, given that they're down, Team 7 lead pretty comfortably. Phoenix is back on that Ash. Yes, UG have the defense here, which again, arguably the favored side, but it doesn't really matter if you're not winning, Spud. You could start on the best side in the world, but if you're not getting rounds and you're not winning anything, it doesn't really matter at all what side you start on. So UG are going to have to dig deep if they want to continue on in this best of 3, because right now it's looking like Team 7 are going to clean up shop.
And the question, of course, will be how fast Team 7 gets into the building and how fast it will be before they get their first kill. Phoenix, of course, leading the charge once again. He's already at that site window looking for any players who might be unfortunate enough or careless enough to cross that line of sight. But so far, so good for Underground. They haven't lost any players. MML is still alive. Harry M, sorry, is still alive. So
I was going to say Harry M.
Yeah. Sorry, MML, my bad.
And Eraser. both Harry M and Eraser were getting unlucky off the bat. But look, if Harry finds the opening kill here, that might be largely indicating of what may follow for him. But Team 7 are beginning to make their way in. Saber takes it down. Okay, Harry's dead. He's the first to go. He's continuing the trend. Spot. I'm sorry, Harry. I'm sorry, man. You make it too easy. Sealy takes down Zube as well. UG falling, just falling like the site's clear, Spud. They're having to drop back down in. Sealy's already inside of the bathroom. He is taken out by Eraser. Unfortunately for him, doesn't continue the streak. Phoenix now jumps into the side as well. MML takes a lot of damage. Saber will go. No, sorry, Saber's not down. Hunter takes down MML, but Eraser will take out Phoenix. JPK to take down Saber. It's a flurry of kills, and well, somehow Underground have come out in a position that's actually quite doable. JPK a nice shot as well. Campo will be felled, and Hunter now the last alive in a 1v2. Team 7. This went downhill pretty quickly.
Yeah, if anything, Team 7 kind of pushed up too quickly, I think. They kind of got to site and then they realized that Diffuser was still miles behind. By the time they got there, everyone was already dead. And so maybe the question was they should have just gone faster at that point. Still, really well played from Underground. That information being relayed back for them to fall back was key. Without that, that would have been a certain Team 7 victory. They just based off how well they frag. Fortunately for them, for Underground, of course, JPK is still in the lobby and manages to save them that round.
Yeah, after losing the diffuser inside of the bathroom as well, it sort of made it relatively difficult to retrieve it. So, I'm not sure. However, it overall was a good first round there from Underground Gaming. It was so close to being Team 7, just right off the back of sheer momentum. But unfortunately for them, it wasn't. And Team 7 will now have to go back to the drawing board a little bit, albeit a great opening moment. And if they can keep that kind of momentum up, just period, throughout this whole thing, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Team 7 come back. But UG with that momentum, you know, this could be the second game that we've ever seen them start from the beginning and go strong, Spud. This could be it.
Attackers are moving to defuse the bomb.
I do remember that Team 7 did actually lose a couple of rounds to F2 on border right at the very beginning. So maybe it's just a border thing in Team 7. They struggle at the start and then find their pace afterwards. But they've always managed to win it, which is the most important part. I also want to comment on the Lion has been very, very prominent in Team 7's attacks and has worked out really, really well for them, especially the way they play. Oh my goodness, Harry M. He's taking out Phoenix. He's done it.
He's awoken. He's done something. He's here. He hasn't died in the first minute. Well, that's a huge kill as well. Phoenix out. He's 0-2. This is not what we saw from him in the first game. And to go down in such fashion, UG definitely looking a whole lot sharper than they did on map number 1. This might be their comfortable ground here. Saber looking like he may have the ability to trade. Harry M largely none the wiser of what's going on. He gets a second before he's taken out. But Saber, I mean, I don't know what the aggression was there, but it was worth it. Sealy found another trade on Juve, and I guess it worked out.
Yeah, I was going to say that Underground came out the better of that engagement, but thankfully Sealy able to find that kill changes things. Now that they've got CCTV control, they can start working that wall. They do need to consider playing from a vertical, perhaps. Sealy finds JPK as well in the background. Now with that wall being open and that's an aggressive push, does get rewarded for it. Saber does go down though, not out, so he will be able to be picked back up.
I was going to say, maybe not rewarded. However, the fact that he's still just down outside the breach and he hasn't been confirmed is quite large here. MML may know that he has downed somebody, but he's just not committing to the peak. He's not too interested. And similarly enough, Eraser's going to go down off screen. MML will now look to rectify the issue. Will be spotted out and the position now given away. The res will come out onto Saber, and that's all of Team 7 now back in the fray, but with the cross held by Sealy. On this SMG, he's not going to look in the right spot. MML's good for another, my God, but Eraser's the one that wins it with the 1v1. Single-handedly, the mute going huge there, but that was just too close again for comfort. Team 7 felled once more.
Yeah, again, this is not the map where I expected things to be going this way. It seems that Underground have gotten the upper hand here on border. Certainly, Harry M made a good opener. He was unfortunately a little bit isolated, so a bit hard to provide support for, but he had a lot of utility to hold on to his position, and he got a 2-for-1. Ultimately, that's what matters. He got more players than he lost. Fortunately, Sealy able to get another pick on the way out meant that it was kind of all for nothing. It went back down to 3-3. But thankfully, both teams leaving their opponents to be able to pick back up does work out in favor of Underground at the end of the day, and they get away just with the second round.
It was a squeak, Spud, I think definitely is what we can say about that, but a difficult round there for Team 7 to lose, given that they actually did manage to get pretty close to that victory for that one. Overall, it was... I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know what went wrong there. They maybe lost a couple of those trades. That downed... Saber being down for as long as he was probably didn't help. But at the end, I guess it worked out for UG, and UG fans have got to be happy about that.
Yeah, certainly this could be the beginning of something, but Team 7 have shown time and time again that they're not too concerned about things like numbers. They just kill everyone, even when they're losing 2-6. So until Underground are able to get that round to 7 and actually win this match, I wouldn't call it yet. MML, though, certainly finding Campo early on will edge them closer towards that victory.
I'm just... Losing Campo like that, it's just not what you want to be doing. You can't be giving kills away like that to UG in the position that you're in. Yes, you've got a map to work with. Yes, you can theoretically sort of just give those away, but you don't really want to be, Spud. I mean, Phoenix now goes down as well to MML. He's had an absolutely insane 2 rounds on the mute. And this is just not looking good at all. Sealy does at least find some condolences. He takes down one. He's looking for a second. Doesn't spot the play through the walls. It's not quite opened up far enough. The Nitro does more damage to MML than it does to his teammate and actually forces the kill. Sealy through the wall. He takes out MML off the back of his team's fault there. But does he spot the grinder? Yes, he does. Sealy's going huge on the Zofia. He's got one more upstairs to deal with. Will he find it? Yes, he will. Takes down Zuve. Harry the last alive, and Sealy single-handedly has won this round for his team, provided Harry doesn't go huge here. Spotted out, taken down. Harry does find the first, but he's got two more if he wants to win the round.
Funnily enough, Phoenix and Camper 0-3 at the moment. Not something we'd expect to see, but Sealy being available, Saber being available. Again, despite Phoenix putting up huge numbers, it's all about the team, I think. He was very much enabled by the rest of his team. And the fact that everyone on Team 7 can put up an amazing performance. And so even though, they've lost Phoenix, like, okay, no worries. Sealy and Saber can take up that mantle. And with that very handily, even, again, from 2 players down, they're able to find 3 kills and suddenly it all changes.
I mean, what can I say? There's a reason that Sealy played with one of the best teams in recent Tier 2 competitions. Except for that one game against Altered Edge, but we don't talk about that one. Albeit, Team 7, look, it's a good first round. It's a good start to what they need to be achieving, provided they haven't achieved it enough. But Underground, they're 1 round away from getting the same they got on Clubhouse, so that'd be a good start. Obviously, anything more than that is an improvement and a benefit, but until that point, they are yet to see any visible improvement from the first. Now, as you sort of said, everyone in Team 7 can pick up that mantle of finding those kills, doing that damage. Sealy, perfect example. In that round, he's been switched onto something more frag-enabled. But, I mean, even then, Phoenix, you give him a couple rounds, he's just going to come alive.
Underground now, certainly this is the first kind of real lead that they've had. But Team 7 look very, very close on their heels. They look to catch up very, very soon, and I wouldn't put it past them to be able to do it this round as well. Again, the aggression coming out, the drawing work is coming out here. They've got all the information they need, and once that information is there, you know that players like Phoenix, players like Campo will be enabled very, very well. Oh my goodness.
Spotted and wiped. JPK taken off the face of the earth by Saber. A great shot from him. And now Team 7 have a decent lead. The bomb site once more is going to be this bathroom where they struggled the first time. They got close. Arguably the closest they've been in a round up until the last where they actually won. But this is a different question. They now have to take this without the same speed but the same precision. And hopefully they can aim to do so. Campo looking to get rid of this Cade Claw with the IQ, but given that it's a hard floor, he won't be able to. Zuve takes down Sealy with a good place. Nitro. The Valkyrie in the hands of Eraser is going to make things a lot easier, but still, Team 7 have only lost a IQ. Sophia. Mental blank there. But still, big losses, given that Sealy was the big playmaker in the last round.
Yeah, mind you, Team 7 have taken this top floor very, very quickly. They have 2 minutes to work with, and already they've been putting so many holes through the floor, really limiting the ways that Underground can move. Zuve now is going to have to look for this flank carry as well, but the flank watch is there. Phoenix is in play here. He's gotten his first. I'm sure.
Oh, he's so good! He's so good! I'm sorry. That was just a nut shot. But MML inside of the site, I mean, I don't know why we're jumping in and trying to plant without the cover. Phoenix is busy. You've got no one on the window close by to help. And MML is going to walk away with a freebie. Now they're going to have to try and play trades back into the site, but Phoenix is good for one. He's traded by the player inside of construction. Zuve on the K to lock it out, but inside of the site, they now have no one around. Campo takes down Zuve. Phoenix on the floor. It's all up to Eraser. And Campo has to find this one kill. He doesn't know where the Valkyrie is. They have the default to play with. Eraser will be able to rotate round. Might actually be able to revive his teammate here and put Phoenix back in play. He's looking like he wants to try, but these holes opened up are going to make it difficult. And there you go. Eraser from distance finds another round for UG. Probably not the smartest choice, but unfortunately you got to try. And that's going to be a big round there for the defense.
Really, really well played there from Eraser. Right at the end, he knew that, you know, with that down player, Team 7 were going to go for him, try to put it back into a 2v1, and he, well, this time, let's just say this time it was intentional. He left him there, waited for that bait, and he was well rewarded for it. Managed to catch a Team 7 player and the round as well. So UG put themselves up another 2 rounds. This is, I think, the furthest ahead they've been the entire series, but it's not a lot by any means. With players like Phoenix, Saber on the board, with Sealy as well. Team 7, they're just, you know, right hot on the heels of Underground.
I will say that these rounds that we have seen, Spud, have been really close. Regardless of who's been winning them and losing them, it has been very back and forth. I mean, the sheer ability of Team 7 to keep these rounds at that 2v2, 1v1, you know, 1v2 situations, it shows consistency regardless of what the round count says. You know, this team is here. Now, Phoenix did show that ray of hope. He's starting to wake up in this second map, but maybe Border's not his favorite. I'm not sure, but we'll find out hopefully soon whether or not he's going to come alive, because Team 7 need it. 3-3 on the half's the best they can hope for here. UG, they're definitely fighting for that place in the finals.
Yeah, UG certainly haven't given up yet, and for good reason. They've really made Team 7 work for that victory. As you mentioned, though, it has been fairly close, so one mistake from either of these teams could put it in favor of either one of them. Saber now will get shot down. Oh,
that's the that's the mistake.
By Phoenix, I was gonna say, right? Yeah, JPK was gonna go for that flank Sube, sorry, but yeah, another kill here could mean that Underground get the lead once again.
Regardless of the team kill, right, they've still got the kill under Zuve, which is big. But look at the damage done to Harry and JPK in the process, right? Single-handedly pretty much removing 2 more players from the board is huge. That Nitro not connecting is also going to be big, given that that's a lot of utility taken away. Phoenix, he's so sharp. He just darts around the screen. Now, Campo is looking for that Valkyrie camera that is spotting them and was attempting to call for that Nitro, but the wall only half reinforced. I mean, there's plenty of utility and time even for Team 7 to make something happen here with the wall opened up as well. I mean, provided they can find another kill, maybe 2, onto Harry and JPK, this should be a relatively easy mop-up for them.
Yeah, they've still got plenty of time to work with as well. A little over a minute as well. No one behind half wall means they got a fairly easy plant here. Phoenix holding that cross. I don't expect him to miss, but MML from below, no, sorry, from the box will find
below.
There you go. We'll find him. Phoenix now left stranded outside. No diffuser. He's going to have to push in hard. And, oh no, it will be a Razor. Shut him down.
Yep, Team 7 just walking into the crosshairs now. Things not unfortunately folding out how they would maybe want. Harry and JPK both still very low. If Sealy can at least find one here and make an entry towards the site, this will be big. Campo as well. Sealy does take down MML. Both players now low. This could be on. Very doable. Campo spotted the player at the half wall too. He's walking out into the open. That was a free kill for Campo to collect. It's now all up to JPK. On his lonesome, Sealy very low, 20 seconds to play with, the bomb has to go down, the flank to come out, will he be spotted? Yes. No. Has he been called? I'm not too sure. The diffuser's been moved into a safer position. JPK rotates to the side, gives himself away, the bomb goes down, it's a 1v1, he's outside though, stuck with no hope out. Sealy's there, spotted and taken care of. Team 7, it's too close for comfort, but it's a round and they have to take it at this point.
Mind you, JPK almost clutched that. Had he been a second faster, he would have stopped that diffuse going down, and I think the time would have run out. So he was that close to winning. And Team 7, mind you, their victories have been very, very close as well. This is much closer, I think, than Team 7 would have predicted, especially for this map. And it does give a glimmer of hope to Underground, because they have been playing really, really well.
Yeah, they have. Underground on this map have been a completely different team. I mean, what we saw from them in map number 1 was just, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, easy, like, Awesome, cool, good for you guys, but Team 7 are the focus here. In this map, this is definitely that 50-50. And I said that, like, coming into this map, out of all the maps that could have been picked, could not have been a better mid-road, because it's going to force Team 7 to actually take a moment. It's not something that they're going to be as comfortable on, whereas UG, they live for the chaos, right? They're a team that doesn't have the experience that, say, Team 7 do, but that's where they have an advantage. They can play to that level of uncertainty on a map like Border, and they're doing exactly that. I mean, you got players downstairs shooting through the floor to deny a diffuser. I mean, it's a standard thing, but you know, you can't hold that flank. And Team 7, they paid that price.
It's now up to Underground, of course, to take another round, make sure they give themselves a good advantage heading into that attacking half. Because, of course, as we mentioned earlier, this does favor the defense a little bit more. So, you know, Underground certainly have been doing really, really well, but once that half turns, things could change dramatically. And we've seen it before with Not Quite Sure with Kraken, where that round half has changed things up.
Hunter, I did want to say that we did just see Hunter absolutely send it across our screen. Zuve, oh my days, sit down, son. Sealy's there to collect another. The Zofia is definitely something he's quite happy on right now. Will spot a second, unfortunately not the kill. A Razor to take down Phoenix. The main breach forfeit control. Will flick to the right, doesn't collect the headshot. JPK moving round the flank. A 2 versus 3. He will take out Sealy. This is big. Hunter does make it into the site though. A Razor attempts to deny. Will have to fall away and give the site up to Team 7 here, who now can look to go for the plant. Hunter's going to have to cover on the shield with the smokes, but I don't know if this is going to be doable. They're in a difficult position. No nitros to deny with all shotguns, but the bomb just yet to be planted. Cambo quite hesitant in the position he finds himself in.
Yeah, surely that would have been the moment, if any, to go for that plant with Campo covering. I'm sorry, with Hunter covering. But now with him on such low health, he might not actually make it. Does actually take down a... Oh no, there we go. JPK played
It's
perfectly,
okay.
but
It's
no.
okay. It's
Campo,
okay.
From behind. From behind.
Breathe, Spud. Breathe. These rounds are too close for comfort, ladies and gents. The fact that Underground are almost winning them and Team 7 are losing them is just... It shouldn't be happening. But Spud, that's, again, I do rate the call to rotate there. They didn't have the information. They didn't, I'm assuming, didn't have drones to mess with in terms of figuring out where they were. It looked like that's why the call was made to rotate on round, but Hunter played that perfectly. Used the blitz as the mirror window, play for the one trade. Yes, he got the down, didn't get the confirm, but it didn't matter. He knew where both of the players were. It allowed Camber to walk through the site uncontested, collect both of those, well, collect the one kill, the down for Hunter, obviously, and ultimately equalise 3-3 on the half. Overall, a really great half from Team 7, but an awesome half from UG as well, keeping those rounds consistently at a level that was quite easily winnable by them for their standard, you know what I mean? Like 2v2s, 1v1s, 1v2s, every single round, I think we have to say, Spud, it's come down to, it hasn't been a flawless or a 4 versus 1 or something very as decisive as that.
5 seconds to go.
Sealy, great first half from him. Hopefully he can keep that up going into the second. Phoenix, lacking in the second map, but he already did his work in the first, and that is exactly where Team 7 come into their own. They can all pick up that slack and do that damage, and they're doing that here on map number 2. Now they go onto the easier side of the defense. This is where they're going to put some distance between them and UG if they're going to do it.
Yeah, Underground certainly started off strong, but unfortunately Team 7 have managed to catch back up, and that's definitely going to be really helpful for Team 7, knowing that they have been able to fight back from this situation. Now, of course, the momentum has to be carried by Underground. They have to be the ones to find these picks and make the game happen. How quickly they'll be able to do that compared to the very kind of free-flowing movement that Team 7 brings on the defense, that's going to be the trick here.
Well, the trick in the question, Spud, two very different things. Sealy playing the aggro smoke, the top of East. overall, I mean, it's a good position to be in, but it's a difficult one to handle without the right utility. Sealy takes a lot of damage here. Phoenix looking to get aggressive for that support. Spots the head of JPK, doesn't connect. Sealy goes down as well. They need to play for the trade, but it's Saber actually to open it up with one of his own. Takes out Harry, dead first once again, and the res will come out here for Sealy. So Team 7 still 5 strong, but UG close on trying to confirm at least one here before being taken out.
Yeah, with Phoenix on half health as well, it's very easy for both these players to fall and then that player advantage to come back into Underground's favor. But losing that Flores though, that's actually a big pick here because you lose that ability to deny some of these shields, and we've got 3 shields, sorry, in play here. So that is a big loss. I am very, very concerned about that because it's going to allow that smoke, allow those shotgun players to just sit behind them, wait for Underground to push into them, and now Team 7 just need to wait.
Oh wow, JPK just slammed there by Sealy. MML trades with one on the Phoenix. They have made their way into the small office here. Zuve on a good angle, but it's just not enough to find a kill. Unfortunately for him, MML knows there's one inside a fountain here. The trade was there, but it's hunted. The SMG-11 prevails. Some good damage dealt to Zuve as well, but at this point, 2 blinking health bars. Hunter and Sealy don't even equal 50 HP, and as Campo starts to make his way around for that flank to the top of East, he's doing just that, but my god, Sealy doesn't miss. Phoenix is complaining about how he fell off, but it doesn't matter. The rest of his team hasn't. Zuve in a 1 versus 4. He's got 20 seconds to do it. He's got a player outside just casually behind him in the smoke. Now, this is where Team 7 could throw it all, but no, they're not going to line up, and it is going to be the Warden to close it out. UG finally lose the lead in this matchup.
Yeah, that attack was barely... I'm hesitant to use the word one-dimensional because although it was one-dimensional, that's kind of how you have to approach that site. You sweep in from the office, make sure there's no one flanking from CC, and you take those east stairs. But unfortunately, it did mean that Team 7, it played right into Team 7, right? They had that smoke over there ready to deny. They were able just to hold onto those crossfires, and UG just struggled. You could see it was a slow, kind of stuck in the mud, I don't know, sludge, kind of trod through towards site, and every few steps they would get shut down. Every few steps someone would take them out. That brute force approach just did not work at all against Team 7, and yeah, if they try it again, then I would be really, really surprised.
Look, Team 7, this is where they start to come into their own. They've had that opening moment that was the struggle, but then you come forward into that second half, they make the changes. I mean, Team 7 make the changes required, and then they just send it forward into the map with the momentum gained off that 1 or 2 rounds here or there that arguably shouldn't give them too much of a boost, but just for some reason does. And here we are. They finally regain the lead. If history is to repeat itself, this is where it goes, and this is how it happens. They just keep going. UG go out here, but hopefully they have learned their lesson as well and will change some things to keep themselves in this match spell, because there's a lot on the line here.
That's right. If you fall here, you're down to 3rd or 4th place. That's $450 compared to 2nd place, which is $900, so twice the amount. And 1st place, of course, at $1,200 big ones. So they don't want to fall here. They want to make it all the way to those finals. Of course, last season they did finish 4th as well. So hey, at least you want to improve on what you did last season. Get to 1st or 2nd place here.
Look, a 1st or 2nd would be good. 3rd or 4th definitely isn't bad either. You can't say too much. But overall, with Zuve kicking it off with 1 onto Hunter, you have to take those. Now, 2 Nitros are deployed there, and no kills to show for it, Spud. That's not great for Team 7. That's a lot of utility, just pun intended, thrown away.
Yeah, I wrote down at the very start they had that C4 enabled by the pulse, and it's just surprising that they've chosen to waste it so, willy-nilly. Certainly they could have denied this vertical play, and stopping that buck would have been huge. It would have really put a dent in Underground's approach, but, well, they're just going to rely on Phoenix killing him. Certainly not a great number of kills, but an important kill here as well. And if he can find a 2nd, he won't Harry and will be the one to shut him down, but Suve already down as well. Certainly helps.
Harry seems to be the bane of Phoenix's existence in this second map. I don't know how, and I don't know what's happened between maps, but Harry has definitely found his stride, we'll say. And he started doing something in this second game here for UG. Some good damage. Campo taking, unfortunately not dealing, as he almost goes down, but from the window will be forced into an open position, spotted and confirmed by MML. A 4 versus 2 is doable. Sealy on 12, Sabre on 7. The two highest kills for Team 7 right now have plenty of ability to make this happen, provided they can find a couple of freebies. Sabre comes on round. He's looking for the first. He will find it. Looks to his left, doesn't spot the next, but JPK's downed, I believe, in a frost match, Spud. He is indeed, cannot confirmed, but downed in a great spot here for Team 7. Zuve on low health. Harry M is the only full health player here. They need to make it into the site. That's the diffuser as well, actually, on the floor. Keep in mind that they have to try and work around. Sealy still lives. He's going to find the Lion. He's not going to get Harry M, but it doesn't matter. The beeper going off. They see the frost match. Sealy with the pre-fire. Shotgun in hand, but it's Sabre to confirm. Team 7 win a great round on this defense that was UG's all over. But apparently not enough. Team 7 are there, and I said that they would do it. If it was two people to do it, it was them, and they did. Thanks for proving me right, guys. I appreciate it.
This is the second 2v4 we've seen in as many weeks. Last week, again, a 2v4 against, I believe it was Kraken, and now against Underground in their semi-finals. What a way to do it as well. They put themselves up another round, a much needed round. They need to increase that distance between themselves and Underground. After, you know, first half that was kind of here and there, quite even, this is the type of performance they need. Really, really send a message, say, hey, we only need 2 players to beat you. 2 players against 4, and they still managed to clutch that out.
Look, they're great players, and they played it perfectly. There was pretty much nothing wrong in that clutch there. Great positioning, great interplay between each other. I mean, just the sheer coordination that you could see back and forth between them as they sort of collapsed in. But UG, that was a big point. I mean, you've got Frost on the board, but obviously not the information to confirm it. Slash, you're just not thinking about it. It came down to, what, 30, 40 seconds, Spud? Like, it was not a lot of time. There had to have been a lot going on for UG there, just an overload of information. And then to feed one by one by one into the open arms of Team 7, I mean, that's just got to hurt. That's got to be demoralizing. I mean, that was your round, and you've lost it.
Hunter now, I think, has, well, in true Kraken fashion, has brought out the sausage. So looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. But yeah, Team 7 definitely in a much better position than they were a couple of rounds ago. Also, in terms of just the sheer momentum they've built up. Oh, is he going to jump?
I'm thinking it. I'm glad we had the same idea. But it doesn't matter. MML, he's going to get punished for his jump out. He's going to get rewarded on Sabre's jump out. But the jump out downstairs didn't come. Harry takes a little bit of damage. I'm not too sure where from. Possibly downstairs. Either way, it was damage dealt. It wasn't a kill. But the run out, again, just punished. A Razor on the buck. Takes out Sealy. I mean, Team 7, what are you guys doing? Back inside.
It got a little bit too hasty. I mean, last time when Kraken did it, it was because they were losing. But this time, yeah, maybe a little bit too premature in terms of the celebration here. So, 2 players down already, and that's the 2 players who clutched out last time, so maybe the kills were just a bit delayed. But again, Underground in a good position. They need to make sure they don't make the same mistake. They need to get that information and then coordinate that push without playing the 1v1s and, of course, the Capcan mines.
The sausage ripping on this floor right now, trying to do some damage, but unfortunately not enough, as he just rotates around with this shotgun in hand. Does do a little bit of damage, but it's not enough. Phoenix does go down. No trade and no revive at the moment, but some good damage and ultimately a kill for Hunter through the floor. Campo as well for 1, but traded through the vert by Zuve. It's a 1v3 for Campo on the Valkyrie. Eraser, MML, and Zuve, the ones that are going to be attempting to make this happen, but I mean, he could do this. He's got some people dropping into his open arms right now. 2, that's huge. Diffuser dropped. Eraser on low HP as well, MML's going to have to come in from deep here. He's spotted, but it's okay. Through the wall, the Razor finds the headshot. If Cambo had done that, I mean, my. There was no drone there. That was a very lucky headshot.
If Campo had managed to get that kill, then that would have been all over for Underground at that point. He only has to watch a single point. He knows he's got the diffuser. That was way, way too close for Underground as well. I think both of these teams have been making some mistakes here and there. Team 7 certainly got punished for that double run out that was completely unnecessary. And Underground will capitalize on it. It's just a matter of who blinks first here. Who makes enough mistakes for the other team to take the win?
It's getting tight. If those jump outs hadn't happened, I mean, Campo basically got that down to a 1v1, right? He probably would have killed that Yana. Crosshair was on the head. All he had to do was click. Then he got shot through the wall by a Razor. One of the luckiest shots I think we've seen tonight with no information. But regardless of that, Campo basically got that down to the 1v1. Even if it wasn't, it was the 1v2. And again, just the consistency from Team 7, even if they're not winning these rounds. And from UG, keep in mind, to keep it at that 1v1, 1v2, 2v2 deficit is just, it's so close, Spud. It's going to be a difficult game. And it definitely could end up in overtime quite easily.
And of all places to see it, I would have expected maybe Clubhouse, but Border, where Team 7 historically has performed very, very well, that is definitely new. So props to Underground. They've certainly been doing the homework here and have studied it. I think certainly they will have gone over the VODs and, for the most part, have figured out how Team 7 are playing. Having said that, figuring out is one thing, actually executing is the other thing. They are still a single round behind. Not much, but enough to put Team 7 in the lead.
They are still ahead by one, which is good for them, I suppose. But I mean, if you're Underground, you would much rather it be flipped around the other way in your favour. However, MML has taken some great control downstairs, paired with the kill now that Zuve's found. Phoenix is just not having a good game, man. He is just getting punished, and I don't know if that's deliberate or if they're just like accidentally finding him pretty much every kill first here, but it has been a consistent, you know, Phoenix down, and I mean, Zuve's good for another on these holes. I mean, what are we peaking here, Team 7? Not that it's Zuve, but like the hole opened up is just like, why are we doing this? He's going to get another nade here. Well, he's very close to getting another nade here. Sabre and Sealy find one respectively, but no information. I mean, Spud, how's he getting away with this? It's common spots, yes, but you would assume that there'd be a little bit more to it here for Team 7 in terms of trying to negate that, but Sealy's in a 1v3. He's got someone coming in from E. He's spotted but not taken out. The pre-fire, unfortunately, not there, and I don't think he's going to be able to do this. Yeah, no. Eraser closes it out. Underground equalise.
And just like that, as quickly as Team 7 were able to get that advantage, it seems like they've just thrown it away. It was really, really hard fought those rounds that Team 7 did win. And as we mentioned, very, very close to clutching, but then suddenly they've just given all that away back to Underground. It just puzzles me. Do you guys actually want to win?
I don't know, like these last two rounds, they've just been running around. I don't think I've seen a single drone, but they're able to consistently find these kills, and it's because Team 7 are being predictable. You've got the second kill on half wall, I would argue, probably isn't predictable. I don't know why Zuve stayed there that long. He already got his one, but like the fact that you choose to just peek it again, you're not going to win that gunfight. You're just not. It's you got to be a little bit more tuned in, especially if nades are flying. I mean, Zuve almost got 3 through the floor that round. Not to mention the rest of his team going absolutely sicko mode upstairs, but I don't know. Team 7, that's just a streak of bad luck, I suppose. Very bad luck saying that, but we are 2 rounds possibly away from overtime / a win here, Spud. 3 at most, but I don't know. Do Underground have it in them to retake the lead, or do Team 7 close it here?
I don't know, because you know, I was just looking at the site. The last 2 rounds have been on that armory wall and the armory side, and Team 7 have chosen to do that again, a 3rd time after those last 2 failures. I'm just really puzzled. They've got so many other options as well, and to just keep sticking that when it just isn't even close to working, it's just puzzling.
Now, Zuve hasn't droned downstairs properly here and did not spot Campo, or at least from what we saw, had not spotted Campo. Now, if the Jaeger can find one here, at least, it's going to be huge, but no, unfortunately droned out, will be forced away into one of those secondary positions inside a workshop here. Now, UG, I'd imagine, will look to try and collapse on his position now they know where he is. They've got 2 already downstairs, possibly looking to send another one in behind here. We do see the sledge through the wall closing in, and it's going to be difficult here for Campo. If he can find one and trade before he's out. I mean, Razor's already found his one. Phoenix again taken out, but it's just, this is not looking good for Campo. Unless he can get one here, it's not really going to be worth it for him. And there you go. That's the one.
Yeah, looking for the second now. The timing a little bit off there for Underground. They weren't able to collapse on him when he was looking away. If they can play this correct, they might be... Oh my goodness, a second one there, and this might have turned around. Campo might just be playing for his life here, and he might get away with it.
I mean, just the time burn, Spud, as well. 2 minutes gone, you've lost your sledge and almost your Yana as well. Campo doesn't even need to play aggressively here. He's in a great position. He's got support from above on the vertical angles. No one else would dare peek him right now. They do have one player coming towards blue. The hatch opened up above. I mean, what are you doing? The same thing your teammate did. Yeah, where are you looking? The call is that he's at back grinder, back bench. He's been there the whole round. Sealy finds one as well. Another miss nade from Zuve, but he won't miss the head. He takes down Campo finally, but look at what it's cost them. 3 bodies, all the health of Zuve, and pretty much the whole round. But JPK finds Sealy. He does make it a little bit easier. A nitro from JPK almost taking him out, onto JPK, sorry, not from JPK. But this is very winnable for Underground. Again, Spud, in a position that largely should not be winnable. It's very close. Saber to find JPK. Zuve now 1 HP. A smoke will put him out of commission, but given there are none, rather difficult. It'll be 1 bullet. They're just running away. They don't want to take the fight. They are going to choose to peek into him, though. He finds the first. All Saber needs to do is live. He's got 4 seconds, but thankfully Zuve's gone the wrong way, and Saber will prevail.
Operators, you are out of time.
Again, just kind of puzzling from both these teams.
I don't know, man.
Also puzzling in a way that they're putting themselves in positions that they should not be able to win or come out on top of, and they get away with it. I mean, just look at Campo. He was very firmly stuck at the back of that workshop. His position was known, yet somehow he gets 3 kills with it. He just stands there and just burns out the time of Underground. Now, considering the amount of time that has been wasted, you'd think that UG are down for the count. But here they are, they put it back into a 2v2 and a 1v1 that could have gone their way. Again, somehow they put themselves into positions that should not be winnable, and yet they come out so well on top of it. It's just crazy.
I don't know. This is the weirdest game I think we've seen tonight. Like, Campo's good for 2 back there. Well, he's called out every time, right? After the first kill, Sledge goes down. He's like, right, guys, he's stuck back there. Zuve is actively watching. What? I mean, what is Harry doing? Coming in, looking towards the front of workshop. The call is being given. Drone it. You've got the time. You've got the drones. You've got everything to your ability to figure out where he is. Harry's just like, nah, I'm going to walk in, face check left, put to bed. And then Zuve pretty much almost single-handedly wins the round. I mean, I don't know what Team 7 are doing, and I don't know if we could call it throwing, Spud, but it's too close for comfort, and I don't understand what's happening.
I mean, at least we can understand with Kraken, they were playing weird, right? They're playing standard Siege, but the results are weird. So, again, you can break it down, but if it just doesn't play out how it should, then I don't know. Harry M back on the sandwich window. Hopefully he doesn't get jumped out on and be the first death again, because that would be very unfortunate.
Yeah, he's playing with the idea. Now, Sabre does take down JPK. That's a big kill to find. Capitao, but not only that, one of your top fraggers off the board. MML will take out Phoenix. Just again, not having a good game at all. Funnily enough, he is on a smoke this time, so it's not going to be as sort of frag accentuated, but Razor a great shot onto Sealy. And unfortunately for Team 7, they just find themselves in this deficit once more. They look to retake upstairs. Sabre can at least find one. That's going to be big, but no, the shot's whiffed. Will cause him to have to retreat back towards downstairs, back towards construction, and he's going to walk away fruitless.
Having said that, I wouldn't count Team 7 out just yet. We've seen them come back from worse, from 2-4 deficits and whatnot. So, hey, they've still got 3 players, which is more than before.
Surely.
Having said that, though, Underground have been playing this really, really well, and they've certainly punished Team 7 for unnecessary aggression. Sealy being caught out upstairs. Both these teams making really, really good use of that lion to lock down these players.
Can also highlight, Harry M, you're on the IQ, mate. What are you using your scanner for? I've seen 3 Valkyrie cameras here, untouched by man, and just relaying information. You know, there's so much info that Team 7 have been able to use in this round, albeit apparently it's not benefited them at all. Hunter will find one on the trade. He will get away with it as well. Diffuser dropped. It's going to be a little bit of a hindrance, I suppose, but that's probably it. As his position now largely known, he looks to find at least one. Campo takes down Harry M. Hunter in a bad position here. Has to trade to get away, or at least run, but it will get away with a second. He can swing on round and find the first here. He's going to be great. Eraser, so much damage dealt, but it's not the kill. The down is there. Campo now to hold the cross. Can Team 7 lock it out here? That's the question. UG have to get the rares, and there they go. Team 7 off the back of a huge 2 versus 4 again in the same game. UG go down. Unfortunately, their run to the top end of things has been stopped by Team 7, and Salvo was correct. We are going to get to see NQS taking on Team 7 in the finals. It was a good effort from UG, Eraser, MML, Zuve. I mean, double digits for everyone involved, but unfortunately, it's not enough. I don't think the score was largely indicative of how that game played out, Spud. That was so much closer than that. It was quite easily could have been an overtime, and quite easily could have been a 3-map game there, but it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, that vertical control right at the end from Underground was really, really impressive. They did stop the flank coming out a couple of times as well, but then it just kind of fell apart in the execute, and that is something that we've seen a couple of times where at that execute they run out of information. When it comes time to actually pounce and hit the site, or perhaps an objective, say Campo hiding behind the wall, it's the lack of information just hinders them right there at the end, and they're not able to seal the deal. So although they started out strong, all Team 7 need is those 2 players to take on the 4, and they're able to win it out.
I genuinely don't know how they get away with it. I really don't. Team 7 in 2 separate rounds of that map, Spud, found a 2 versus 4, and it just, again, highlights the level of experience. I mean, the coordination from 2 players can take out 4 from UG. I mean, that's a back to the drawing board moment. They're going to finish around 3rd or 4th, which unfortunately isn't 1st or 2nd. But look, at the end of the day, it's better than getting sent home in the groups. And we do get to have a short little chat with the victor. Sealy from Team 7, I've been told, is joining us. Here he is. Sealy,
hey guys. First
of all, congratulations. I do have to extend that to you. You've made it to the finals. You've done very well. Now, I do want to ask you some questions about what we saw. You went into Clubhouse. It's a map that UG have previously beat you on. How did you feel going into that first map?
Well, when we lost them on Clubhouse, I was playing very poorly. Like, I've been playing pretty bad the past few games. So I'm in a bit of a slump. Plus, we had Derp subbing in, which didn't help. So obviously, we're playing with the sub. I'm playing bad. So that was just, everything was messed up there. But tonight, we had our proper full roster for once. So we just came in confident.
Yeah, and you've mentioned that you guys don't really like doing your homework beforehand. You kind of just rock up and play. Was that the same case here, or did you actually study for the test this time?
No. We were playing ranked about 5 minutes before the match. There was not much studying done. We just hopped in, had some fun. We did proper bans this time, though, so a little bit more serious than the previous games.
I do have to give you that. The bans were definitely good to take on. Obviously, you guys will cast your eyes to the final. You've got a pretty difficult team that you've already beaten in the past. How are your chances going up against NQS for that top spot? High, or do you think it's going to be a close one?
I mean, I think it'll be a hard game. They're a team that, is constantly scrimming. They have strats. We're a gang of friends, and half of us don't play the game. So, look, it'll be fun. But we have beat them before. I have a read on Karma. I know everything he does. I have complete understanding of how Karma plays, so I'll just lock him down. No problem. We win.
Silly diff.
Well, any final messages you want to leave to perhaps your supporters, perhaps your opponents as well?
Nah, shout out to the UG guys. They're all lovely. They're awesome people. It was a good game. It's always fun versing them.
Sealy, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you so much for joining us. And overall, Spud, a great game, an absolutely great game. You love to see the spirits up from both sides. I'd imagine UG are probably in good spirits. But I mean, look, a top 4 finish. It might not be a first or a second, but it's still a relatively good finish. Now, we cast our eyes to how the bracket looks at the end of the semi-finals play day today. And no surprise, our playoffs, our finalists are going to be not quite sure. And Team 7. Unfortunately for Kraken and UG, the run ends here, but 2 very classy 2-0s. We didn't get any 3 maps tonight, Spud, and we didn't get any overtime, so all in regulation, but this finals is shaping up to be a relatively interesting one.
Yeah, as mentioned by Silly just then, Team 7 kind of the ranked stars that just come together and play, and not quite sure on the other hand. They do so much practice, so much scrimming, but yet sometimes it just falls apart when everyone just brings shotguns. So what will happen when Team 7 plays up against them? Will they take a page from Kraken's book and just bring shotguns and do something random? Who knows? It could be what gets Team 7 over the line.
I don't know, Spart. I guess we'll have to find out next week. But we do have our Twitter winner for this evening. We would like to say congratulations to Salvo walking away with the LPL prize pack. So congratulations to you, man. And you weren't too far off. Very correct, in fact, in your predictions. So I do have to give you that, Salvo. Pat on the back, mate. You're a good coach. And apparently you're good at guessing who's going to win. So if anyone wants some good odds, make sure you hit Salvo up. But Spud, overall, a great play day. Some absolutely insane games. Final thoughts for the evening before we head off.
Look, all I can say is it's been really good. We've had some of everything. We've had some really, really close matches. We've had 2v4 clutches. We've had games come down to 1v1s. We've had a bit of trolling and memery and tomfoolery, and it's all been great to watch, great to cast as well. I've really had a good time.
We have had an absolutely amazing time. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Biocode Lab and Roccat. As always, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure bringing you tonight's matches, and we hope you enjoy the finals next week. Same time, same place. We'll see you then. Have a good night. See you later. Goodbye.